welcome to the stream. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing awesome and hope you're ready to hang out and watch some shenanigans. We're gonna do some golf tonight. I have with me lots of lovely peeps ready to go. But yeah, happy Friday. And it's good to see y'all. Let's go get them. Let's go get them. Let's go see if we can find them.
Not playing.
Hi y'all. We are live.
I'm doing something.
Hello.
Alright.
Are y'all ready? You ready to play some golf? I see Shane joining.
Oh yeah.
Hi Shane,
Let's do it.
welcome.
We're just waiting on Lady to join.
I'm not joining.
Oh,
She's
okay.
busy.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to set up my apartment, so I'm building it in The Sims.
That's cool.
Decor is fun.
I'm going to figure out where everything's going.
Splits! Beep boop 15. Thank you, Splits. Thank you for the 15 months. Thank you. Prince Beep. Beep le boop.
Beep, beep, beep.
Le boop. Alright. Let's do this. Alright, I'm gonna hit start. Let's go. Oh, you know what? I don't even know what I set it to.
Dude,
I didn't use...
we set it to random and we got forest, which is so amazing.
And I didn't turn on the jump thing.
The speed
though.
mode? Oh, no
I didn't turn
jumps?
jump or anything.
So
we
no
gotta
jumps?
play.
Oh, you got
We
the
gotta
jump
play
on.
super
no.
vanilla on forest.
We actually have to try now?
Yeah, we actually have to try.
Oh lord.
We actually have to
That's
try
big.
on
Won't
forest.
you give me a hole in one? Nope.
Oh, I went over the fucking hole.
Got it.
All I hear
Dang
see
it.
is somebody going zoom, 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 zoom. Like, what's that?
I didn't even try to jump. Are you sure it's off?
It's off.
Yeah, it's off.
Oh no. Oh no.
Don't
Yeah,
mind
shit.
me.
We're
Shenanigans.
playing legit tonight. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest
Starting
with you.
off.
I'll be honest with you. See, for the first game, like when we're playing Forest, jumps, not having jumps is almost better because we all know what Forest is. We all know the little tricks.
Yeah, except there's like
You know,
a few
baby.
things that I'm gonna really wish I had jumps for.
Come
Fucking
on.
holding in.
Get
That
good.
was rapid. That was rapid as well. I nearly
Don't tell me
fucking
get
jumped
good.
back
I
that
went
hole.
right over the hole.
Oh, I gotta
Jeez,
go
I tried to
down
jump.
the
Oh,
ramp.
I tried to jump and I didn't even. I'm glad I stopped myself. That would have been
Yeah.
a big mistake.
Yeah, because you can't jump.
Oh no no no!
You
Don't
actually
end up
have to
behind
do
the
the things.
freaking thing.
Oh,
no,
my speed
no,
is
no,
way
no.
off. Way.
No 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 no.
My speed is
Yes,
way
yes.
off, by the way.
Ay ay ay. I don't know how to play the holes normal. This isn't fair.
Me neither. I'm at the bottom.
This is why I think
Tell
this
my
is good.
friggin' daughters, dog. That's not fair. I don't give a shit if it's not fair. Tell me.
This one should be normal if you can get past the dang
Wait,
board.
we don't have collision then either, do we?
I don't
Oh, no, we do.
think so.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Oh,
Why have I
so
got
it's half rigged.
Why?
That should have been a hole in one. What's going on?
Why do I have a fucking Christmas
Tell
pudding?
me why.
Christmas
God.
pudding?
Why do I have a fucking Christmas pudding when we're not even through
Ah.
fucking August yet?
You
You
chose
wanted
it.
Christmas pudding, I guess.
You chose it.
I must have been feeling extra fat that day.
Come on, come on. Ah.
Extra thick.
Thick.
You thought it would help you when you were doing speed golf. That's what it was.
I used to have a log. No, I don't.
It's log, log, log.
What, you got the toilet?
No, where's the fire?
Ah, I missed the context.
Either a
Why
Christmas
do you do
log
this
or
one
the
without a
fire.
jump?
I'm cold.
Oh,
Like
I've
this?
done this. I've done this.
Oh, never mind. I thought it was the other. I thought it was a different one.
Shoot.
Damn it.
So it's not
Oh,
that.
I went a little bit
Must
too
be that.
hard.
Not slow
Oh,
down,
I went
bro.
too hard as well.
Giggity.
Giggity.
Oh, and again!
Wow.
So it's not fair that we have collision, but not
No jumps. Yeah.
No
Preference,
jumps.
yeah.
It's not fair.
It's all right. It's forest. It's short and sweet. We'll get through it.
Short,
Right.
sweet, dear the perk.
We'll pound our
Can't
way through
dodge
the holes.
jumps or rammers.
What?
Damn it, come on.
Oh no!
Oh,
I'm too excited.
Trying to do better. Trying.
This really does equalize the skill
better.
set, though. Goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I've had some practice before.
Wild hair across the page.
The audacity.
Dude, the only time I play this game is with y'all, so like,
yeah, same here.
Same.
I don't get much practice.
Oh, now I gotta play this
I don't
one
either.
correctly.
Oh
Fuck.
no.
No, I thought I had it.
Is collision on, do you say?
Yeah, it's on. Oh no, I went way too hard there. Jeez.
Oh, I went through the map.
Also matters the angle.
Excuse me, what?
Hey,
I
quit.
went through the map. Yeah.
Cheating! You're no
no good.
clipping.
It was
R
weird.
for the course, baby.
I got a birdie.
Aren't we?
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Look at that! Oh,
You barely fell in. Good luck. Congratulations.
just dripped it on in, but it came off the back.
Is that what they say these days?
That is not what I meant, but it worked.
Oh man.
We
Fucking
Hole in
put me in that hole.
Are you kidding?
I'm not looking forward to the logs because I always jump.
I know that one's so tough at the last level. Oh my
I have no
gosh.
idea how to do that without jumping. I'm gonna get
So
like a
I'll
full
be honest with you.
17 or whatever.
I always
you're
struggle
allowed
with
on
that one anyway, so this is perfect.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm not good at this one either.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
'Cause I don't
Yeah, this
remember
one's
what.
tough. You gotta find. You gotta
backwards,
find the
right?
cut. You gotta find the cut
Dag.
and go
I like-
for it.
I like your
Cool.
cut, G.
I like the shape of
There
your
we
jib.
go. Okay, I see it.
It's the cut of your
What
jib.
the heck
yes.
is going on with my phone?
Well,
Oh.
Yous were all saying
Oh,
cut. I
keep-
wanted to be different.
Come on, keep
Oh,
hitting me.
yo.
Keep hitting me.
let the paddle put me in position.
Just tap it on in.
Dash, how are you doing?
Tap, tap.
Nico Nico
Me
Dee
too,
Dash. I
Pepper.
hope you're doing awesome. Welcome to the stream.
The bedroom's definitely gonna be.
Welcome to the pink hair. It's still drying.
This is a pink cat.
All tied up.
We all fucking
Yeah.
games.
Of course, I always show up to stream with my hair still partly wet from. At least you know I shower.
Fair enough.
Wow.
It do be accurate though.
Anybody who
Oh
I've
my
ever
gosh,
met
79 months. Thank you.
that
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
dyes their hair,
I'm an old man.
Easy,
They're-
brother.
their sink is always after covered with fucking dye.
No, mine's clean.
Is it? I'm impressed.
As
I
long
won't
as
lie.
you don't
But
let
I'm
it
in-
sit there,
but
you
I'm
can
like a
wash it
neat.
off.
Not, I wouldn't say a neat freak, but pretty close. I have to have things
Split the
cleaned
sink.
and organized.
I mean, I'm not insinuating that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but it can start that way. But somehow I
I'm just
managed to
meaning, like,
only get
it's
just a little bit on
always
there this
fucking-
time, and then I cleaned it right off. I don't know how I managed. I
Oh,
didn't drip any on the
jeez.
floor, nothing. I was
This
like,
one
how
is
did I do that?
crazy.
And I only got one spot on my finger, right,
Oh,
right
What?
there, because there was a hole in my glove, so it looks like I punctured myself, like seriously. So I was sending it to people, and they're like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, it's dye. It's right there, dye.
I cut myself.
I blued myself.
Hey,
Any fans of
donut.
Arrested Development?
I glued myself today.
How did I manage that?
I don't know.
Shane, have you ever encountered that in your professional career? He's
Hey,
not gonna comment.
Maybe somebody's
What,
been
gluing
taking
itself?
colloidal silver
People
and came
gluing
in turned all
themselves.
blue.
There was actually, I remember seeing that there was some
Yeah.
guy that did do
We
that.
had that conversation a while ago, I think.
Cool
Was it
brand.
not medicinal at one point or something like that, and that's why he took it?
Not
It's like a
FDA approved,
homeopathic
though.
remedy, which is not medicine, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then he turned out to be a fucking smurf after years of taking it.
Lovely,
Yeah, what
Alex.
It
happens, right?
collects in your skin cells, yeah.
Pink hair happened. That's what happened. But yes. Thank you.
Oh
Hype and
my,
chat
what
for the sub.
happened?
Thank you, Shane.
Oh my god.
Welcome, Dash.
No! I'll get out of your way. Sorry, just
I'm
like.
gonna try to.
Wee.
I'm gonna go the way I always go. Here, I promise.
That mother.
She's hiding.
Father fuck.
There. Oh, everybody was in your way that round.
It's okay, it happens.
I didn't mean to be, but I ended up there. Oh, can I
I'm
get
here.
this one still?
I'm glad you're here, Dash.
Nope.
Yes, sir! No jumping needed. This is one of the
Nailed
few
it.
courses where I
Nailed it.
generally don't jump.
Right.
Nailed it.
I don't know who's going first there.
I am.
Oh no, I think you need to put the
It was me.
Albatross.
I was gonna make such a dirty
No.
joke. But I thought, no.
Oh, no! Oh,
I only tend
did
to
you,
jump.
did you just jostle your table there, Prince Light?
No. No, I didn't. I
My-
wish.
My dirty
It
joke
looked
there
like-
was gonna be. My dirty joke there was gonna be like, I only tend to jump when I want to edge myself into the hole, but then that I realized after like thinking it in my head was just like, it's a bit too much.
Wow, you a bit much, aren't you?
Just a
I
bit.
did, Gummy. I just did. Welcome, guys.
Woo, woo, woo.
Oh, gun show. Okay, so we gotta do gun show after I like make it over here. All right. We'll do it. Aha! Syndronic. Welcome.
Eagle baby.
Oh, I just about tried to jump. I'm so glad I didn't have to.
Right? Any fans of Scrubs in here?
Right?
Sort of.
Okay. Shinx,
I
you're
don't like
welcome.
those.
But yes,
Norm.
somebody redeemed
Normally-
gun show. Dash did, so
This is the one that messes me up the worst.
Normally
my
this is my
lack
best.
of muscles for you. Yeah.
Dang it. That did not
Y'all
work at
almost
all.
make me want to work out and do like
I got an
actual
idea.
sit-ups
What?
and have actual muscles,
What?
but you know.
I can't even do that with jumping sometimes.
Splints me too.
Welcome, Crowley.
Got him.
But yeah, my hair's still drying a little bit,
Okay.
but I have the underside all pink, so and it's kind of
You
frizzy
know, I
right
really-
now. So you just gotta live with it. But I'm loving it. It's gonna be beautiful.
I don't think
How
that
in the
Believe
world
Clear is
did I
on.
manage that?
Because I
No
have
idea.
3 different people phase through me.
Huh?
Let's see.
Dude, all I know is I was like, this seems about
Alright.
right, and then it worked.
I'm gonna
It
see if I can
worked.
figure this thing out.
Blinko, but in
Oh
reverse.
god. Please just
Oh,
go where
it
you're
actually
supposed to
right
go.
there.
I think
Oh
it's
my
lucked
God,
out.
that's
It's
almost
lucked out.
exactly what
It's
I
lucked
did.
out. It's
Dude.
lucked out.
Yeah!
What?
Yes, sir.
Legit
That's the
with
same
no
thing I
jumps.
did.
Good job, Slits. Cute
You love
hair
that.
for Cutie. Thank you
So
so much,
lucky.
Crowley. Thanks, Syndronic, for the
Put her
cute
back
Pika.
off, Carly. She's mine.
Do you know what's crazy? Is that this
Thanks,
is,
you're
fine.
welcome,
Thank
Nick
you.
Crowley. You're
Oh,
welcome.
this is probably one of my best courses, and I am fucking
Oh, I'm
severely
sitting here
failing at it.
Whoops.
I'm trying to
Whoops.
jump and I got a hole in one.
Oh, great.
Look at you. This one's gonna take me forever. I'm so
We
bad at
forgot
this
to turn
course.
jump on this. We always play with jump, and I forgot to turn jump on,
I'm
and we're
so bad at this course.
torturing
No!
ourselves. And I still did decent. I say that now, but the next hole I'm gonna like freak out.
No.
The thing is, Kimono, like,
It's gonna be hard.
we're always used to playing jump, right? So see,
Right.
because everyone knows forest, we always start with forest.
No.
We all know where the jumps and everything like that should be roughly.
Yeah.
And I think this makes the skill level, like Splints was saying earlier on, a bit more
No.
like
it levels it
leveled out. Yeah.
But
Oh
how
my
is everyone?
goodness.
Happy
I made
Friday.
it in.
Yeah, it might help with the
3
skill
over
levels.
par, but
It'll look cool in a braid.
I was in
I'm
the
actually
lead.
excited to braid my hair and like see what it looks like braided and stuff.
Should do the dragon braid.
dude, I went from 3rd to 5th.
I don't know how to do that. That's I can barely do a regular braid.
We spoke about this before. That
I
fucking
know,
Viking
but I
dragon
can't
braid.
do it.
Yes. Full
How do
on.
y'all do
Okay, I made
this
it
without dying?
I made it
Gotta
down
be
here.
very
carefully.
careful
There, bro.
and wait for other people to pass in front of you so you don't hit them.
Shit.
I mean, I'm like gonna roll
Gonna be
into the
close.
thing.
That's a
Oh
call,
shit, I
I'll
helped
take
you.
that.
Oh.
And then this log is gonna
No.
murder me. Maybe
Oh,
not.
I'm so done for this. So done.
Well, it's
You
gonna
gotta be
be- darn it.
fucking kidding me, dog.
Oh no, I didn't go fast enough.
Okay.
I cannot
so the
play this.
logs do not touch the ends.
Yeah, I know,
They
but
might
that's
I
why
couldn't-
there's,
I couldn't-
that's why there's a pole in the way.
Oh, I'm so done with this.
I'm in a terrible spot. I'll never be
So
able to
done
make
at
it
this.
through.
I
Okay,
can't.
I can
I
get
physically
through. I
can't.
can get through.
Yeah, very little. Just
Ah.
need a curve.
I'm probably gonna like almost run out of like. It took me 10 strokes.
There we go. I got into a different position. I'm okay.
Hope
I'm
you're
okay.
having a good night. I am. Thank you.
I'm okay.
I'm
You
out
got
of
two
shots.
shots
I'm out of
left.
You
shots.
have a
Shot
good
left.
spot next round.
You have one shot, don't you?
Oh
out of shots.
jeez. Log surfing. You're right. I had 10
Okay,
shots
let's double check
tonight.
that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
better not
hold on,
have.
hold Hold on. Let's
Yeah,
drink for six.
achievement.
Don't die.
Drink for 69. Drink for 69.
Who got 69?
I did, dude.
Nice. Ooh, I could be a double
Congrats, you're the
cheeseburger
winner.
Mmm.
now. Great.
Okay.
Settings.
Yes. Your
Let me change
favorite?
my ball.
That
Yeah,
was
we can
great.
check.
Settings. Collision
Let
was
me check.
disabled. Look.
No, it
No, it's
changes because
enabled.
I clicked a new map.
Let me change my balls.
Excuse you?
We are
My ball.
drinking matcha bubble
Like a
tea.
mess.
So,
Okay.
yeah. I like it.
It's
Bubble
like
tea?
Japanese and Korean.
Pika hat. Okay. Pika hat.
What do the bubbles taste like in bubble tea?
They're tapioca.
They're little
beads,
tapioca
better
pearls, so
flavor.
it's kind of like very soft, like gummies, but kind of firm at the same time. It's hard to explain. They're soft
Like
but
You
firm.
just gotta be careful if you pull too hard on the straw, it'll.
Hey, can you shoot those things like spitballs?
Gotcha. Cheers.
Ah,
then.
yeah.
I gotta do that, yeah.
Have a great night, guys.
Pika.
Thank you. It was so good to see you again. Take care, man. Take care. Take
Bye.
care. But yeah, Pika hat.
Oh, Crowley redeemed Pika.
My hair is a mess. I'm totally gonna braid it. Just see what it looks like.
Oh, Brooke.
It's gonna happen.
Spring have decided to lay.
It needs to hurry up and dry. Oh, I want to see what it looks like flat iron too, like straightened.
I would miss the curls and waves.
I just got a pop up on my phone saying you're about to reach a 3-stream watch streak with Kimono.
Yay!
Oh boy!
Only
You better
3.
get better.
I was gonna say only 3.
Get
The amount of
good.
fucking times I've been
You wanna
here,
know
like
how many
what's the
I'm at?
flip of that? But
Yeah,
fucking
Ready?
100.
streak means
61.
uninterrupted.
Eh?
She's almost at 69
I am.
We gotta have a celebration for that for sure.
when she
I don't
hits
always get the
69
notifications. So I
stream
don't know
streak.
what to say.
Yeah.
Well, if Mono's in Discord, 90% of the time she's probably gonna go live.
Yeah, but
So
on
we're gonna
random
wait for
days, I'm
Prince to
not
come back.
necessarily checking.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
As soon as Prince comes back,
Oh,
then
Oh,
we'll start.
well, you can start without me. I'll be right back. But
Okay.
since
well,
he's
hurry.
gone,
I
I'm
can't
gonna
start
do a
without
quick.
you.
I'm gonna do a quick little.
Yeah, I'll you
I
start.
did it.
Oh yeah, I got one the other day too. They're so good.
I got
Did you-
4.
the caramel apples. So are they like seasonal
Right.
only now?
I'm
Those
gonna-
Alani's?
Take
The
that as well.
caramel
I'll be back in a minute.
They always have been.
Yeah.
I might as well take a litter box.
Mm.
and
We
make
just
an
happened to
album.
be very lucky that we were finding them in
Yeah.
because it was just so overstock for the season. I like the
You're
new
drinking a
packaging,
Dunkin'
though.
latte. I had
Pretty cool packaging now.
a Scooters blended, and it was maple. They do the coffee and ice cream blended into like a frozen drink, and it was maple flavored today. It was so good.
I did almost buy those caramel apple suckers too. Almost, I didn't,
Those are good
but I
though.
bought a bunch of these.
Sour punches. I need snacks. I actually didn't buy any snacks. I think I still have some baked lays in the kitchen if I get hungry, but this is as close to I have to a snack right now.
Kimono, you remember Strahd?
Mhm.
You gotta leave a many big of them now.
Nice. Well, I gotta go get this PC set up. Okay, Grubby. Good luck with your PC setup, and congratulations on your new PC, Grubby. Good luck, good luck. You got this. Just don't get frustrated.
So-
Take your time. It's not a race.
I realised that you were talking about your coffees and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Not
You want to know
coffee,
my favorite coffee of all time, but it only comes around, I believe, at Christmas.
What?
Is the fucking the
Can't help
the-
yourself.
I
Eggnog?
can't. No, the ginger spice latte.
Oh.
Oh. it's like
Oh,
gingerbread.
they're fucking, they're brilliant.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
this is what I'm drinking right now. It's not coffee.
Oh, my
It's
bad.
just an energy drink. But she
It
did
sounds
mention
good.
it.
So when I was in Glasgow going to the concert that I was at, I had
I'm
to
not
check
seeing
out
my
by 11 o'clock, which was
Podcast.
perfect timing because my
Forget to
train
book
was
it
at
on.
like 12:30. So
See something.
I went to go
While we
to KFC to get myself a couple of burgers for the train, for breakfast,
You
funnily
don't
enough,
own
or
that
slash lunch.
extension.
Then I went to Starbucks, got myself a massive coffee, went down to meet the
I don't
boys,
want the
and
coffee.
they looked at me and were just like, "How the fuck have you got
Okay.
a
That's not how you
KFC and
catch
a coffee?"
Pokeball.
I'm just like, well, because that's where I passed by, and like, that's fucking god type material, like, you know, that fucking that thousand brain.
Nectar of the gods.
Well, but it's like that. I mean, I don't have
Sure.
Starbucks here, buddy, so it was a revelation for me as well as Starbucks, and I was just as well as KFC. So I went and got it all before getting the train, and they were just like,
Where is
Yeah.
Prince?
and they're just like, this is fucking god type material, like thousand
Where
brain.
am I? I'm right here.
No, not Splits. Prince. You guys do kind
Oh.
of sound the same, but yeah.
I'm back.
You came back and Tank came back, but Prince has not come back yet. So
Alright, now I have 79
I'm like braiding
Pokeballs.
my hair just to see what it looks like because I can.
You're doing
Prince,
pigtails.
I'm back,
Hey.
Prince.
I swear to God, if you can do that fucking dragon braid,
Catch. Whoops.
hell fucking yes.
You typically have to have somebody else do that. Like that's not a
You
thing
do.
that's easy
That's
to
a
do.
lot of hair
You
too.
can do that on your own. You can do that on your own for sure. You just
Let me see
What
you
the-
do it.
I can
Yeah.
physically, but YouTube
Let's
videos
see
for
you
fuck's
do
sake.
it.
I wish I
Just-
could because I would like to go out with that, go out as that as like fucking Halloween or like whatever.
Right?
Be fucking incredible. Be so good
Smash
with a
it. Braided
fucking
your
like
beard?
a never. Actually, at one point
His,
it
his
was
beard's not long enough to
It's pretty
braid.
cool.
I
At
have
one-
to say, Mono, your hair
I
looks
like
really
it.
nice.
yeah. I
Thank
like
you.
the pink going through it.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go get my little hair
It
ties.
It looks
and-
nice in a braid. The red
Yeah.
swooping
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
I like it like that.
It's
At one
really
And
cool.
if I
point-
leave it like that, then it won't be frizzy tomorrow morning when I wake up. And I can
Yeah.
take it down and it'll be like really wavy and pretty and it won't be frizzy.
At one point, my beard was long
I'll be right
enough that I was contemplating putting like the little light bulbs and the glitter through my beard
Oh,
for
no.
it to be around Christmas. And then I was like,
Oh,
I don't
no.
like glitter. I don't like glitter, and I'm certainly
It
not
would itch
fucking
like
colorblind.
crazy.
Yeah. But
Mine's
Oh.
put almost long enough now where I can start putting stuff in it if I really wanted to.
You could definitely put a toothpick in
Okay.
there.
I have
Oh
to-
Yeah, you can put a
put
couple
comb
for
or
sure.
toothpick in there.
I used to. I don't know. I can't remember if you were around when I was here, but I used to have my
Oh,
beard was like.
It's
bastard.
green.
Okay,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I used to sport like a soul patch.
I like
every
the braids. I like the braids,
Yeah.
buddy.
You grow your soul patch out
It's
long.
super frizzy right now and I hate it when it's
a
frizzy. So.
middleman shoe.
Mm. Oh,
As
wait.
much as I like the braids, I'm encouraging
My
not.
soul patch doesn't grow.
Oh, encouraging the
I
fact
mean, it
that like,
does, but
people
not long.
put them into pigtails.
Oh,
God,
I
mine
used to
does.
have red
There's
on
an
the corners of my
insinuation
chin.
with that as just my
That's
beard.
pretty common.
Just for
Caucasian
you,
men tend
it's
to
just
grow
your
red beards.
insinuation.
Oh, mine
Possibly.
never was
But I
red all
think
over, it was
like
just
a
the
lot of
corners
guys
of
have
my
that
chin.
insinuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Just
Like,
depends.
we tend to have some red in our beards, regardless of what
Well-
your hair color is.
Mhm.
Now my youngest
Okay.
sibling's
Mhm.
beard, on the
I
other
feel like
hand,
I'm
is
doing
a
this
bright red.
backwards
I
and
didn't
Didn't
inside
say
out.
you did, Aiden. I know.
Oh, you
You,
said
you
a
got
lot.
no red.
I got no red. Like
There
red,
you
but
go.
I ain't got no red.
Wait. Okay,
Now
so
I get it
the
right.
few people that don't have any red in their beard typically have black hair.
Like you look at me and my
I
youngest,
think I
one
was
of my
hitting my
younger siblings,
earpiece.
you would mistake him for a Viking.
Mhm.
Fucking love it. I love that look. Generally love it.
Big red beard.
There.
But not all Vikings are ginger.
No.
crew.
A lot of them are blonde.
Or red, got red
yeah.
beard.
They tend to look like I do.
Yeah.
He does have a ponytail that is dirty blonde.
It'd be cool
mean,
if I could
you
figure
can
out how
see
to like
that.
part
Oh,
it and
I have
one side red
returned.
and one side white.
Hey,
That fucking time, dude.
where'd you go?
He's
He's
alive!
back! Now we can play!
Take.
It's alright.
Yeah, time
Give me
lost,
time
man.
to braid your hair. We had a discussion about
Right.
beards and.
Right? The important stuff.
Here's the good shit.
Mm-hmm.
We did all the
Skull.
important things.
Oh,
I'm almost to the bottom. Close enough.
That almost looked like Link there for a minute, lady. With the shield on
Me?
the back. Yeah, I just no.
No, it's Avor.
Oh.
At the
Male
at the
Avor.
back though, because I seen the shield, it almost looked like Link for a minute.
I think another reason I wanted to do this
That's not
was
even the
because of
right
hat.
shape.
I
Link
know,
doesn't
but
have a
I
red
just,
shield.
I know,
And
I
then-
just seen the shape and the shield on the
And
back.
I just love giving you shit, so take it.
There.
Oh, don't you worry, I'll take it.
Wow.
Wow.
There. So I have braids and
Braids and
doodads.
braids.
braids and doodads. So yeah, although I feel like it's like super crooked. There we go.
Braid your hair into the doodads.
No.
No.
That would be fire.
Then we never
because
get it
nobody
out.
ever- Yeah, I was
There.
gonna say, knowing Mono, she's never gonna get them out.
Later on,
Yeah.
You can do a twisty, but
Yeah.
later on, you go to take the hat off, and it's like, what the fuck? Get off me!
Aww.
All right, so we're Candyland. Oh no,
Yeah, your favorite. We're getting it over with early.
I'm so good at this one.
So are we?
Set all the
Can we
settings.
can we jump now?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Not allowed.
No. Don't know me when we can.
No.
Try to get an advantage.
No jumping for you.
No,
No,
not
yeah,
allowed.
me.
Oh, I'm so terrible at this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even try.
See.
Ah, fudge.
Whee!
Ah, crap.
Wee. Oh.
Oh no! I messed up. 3 stream streak. Thank you, Nick Nuthy. Thank you,
My
thank you,
aim's
thank you,
so
thank you.
No.
Not the center. You gotta go left or
Why
right.
is it gotta
ramp.
be the freaking first level that's so difficult?
You're just a bit under 4, buddy.
Are you serious?
Without a
Once
jump,
you
you're
get
just
it,
a
you'll
bit
like
under
never
4.
mess up again.
Yes.
But
Oh,
thank
I
you, Nick
still nailed
Nuthy.
it.
Welcome to the stream. Happy Friday.
It's a part 2 and I'm on the 6th shot.
Cheers.
Ay.
Cheers.
Go.
I earned that last place, thank you.
Friday.
This is the one I'm gonna mess
Bigger,
up on.
bigger, bigger.
I can
No,
never,
fuck, I definitely fucked that up. I was going too fast.
I can never do this one properly.
No!
Ah, fuck. Shit.
A little over the edge.
Me and Mono got home.
Bounce off the bat.
No.
Oh, come
Excuse
on.
me.
Right, Joffrey? 5.
How did I manage
Bogey.
that?
I got me a par.
I don't
And
know.
that was-
I just went for it.
Lady, what are you doing on the chocolate sandwich?
I don't know.
On the what? That was a fucking
She makes her
jump.
own path.
What
She
the
makes her
fuck?
own way.
Like, how did you even get up there?
You know what? I don't know, and I don't want to know.
It done.
Don't know, don't care, cry about it.
I do happen to have hit the gumdrop.
French, you
behind
missed the course.
it, But
Just saying.
yeah, difficult shot.
Not the gumdrop bud.
Yay!
Yeah, it's a
Took me
big
long
deal.
enough.
It's empty.
That mint by the flag.
I'm still in last.
I've actually
See the
Oh,
difference
just-
jump
tried
makes.
altogether.
Freaking one.
See the
Oh,
difference
yeah.
jump makes. It's crazy.
I barely made it through that.
Welcome to the stream. Whoa.
Collision is on.
Who hit me?
Collision is on.
Ah, fuck.
Welcome to the
I
stream.
wouldn't advise that.
Happy
I
Friday.
was gonna say, I would
It's
not
going
advise
great,
that.
thank you. I hope you're doing awesome.
And dangerous as well. Like, oh shit, I went out of the course. Oh, can I get back in? Can I get back in? No!
What did you do?
I went outside the
Tried to get
course.
the hole.
Oh.
And then I hit it way
So
too
you
hard.
tried to like pop back in,
This was a fan.
and it
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
let
tried
you.
to hop back in. Yeah.
Missed the hole and went to the scenery.
I'm glad you're back. Where were you? I ran away. No, I
Yeah,
had
when he said that, it
family
made me-
things to deal with, and I was really tired. So, but I'm back.
I'm gonna waste
We
all
back.
my shots
Guess
at
who's
this rate.
back?
Anybody
Back
remember
again.
Look how
Kimono's
tiny they
back
are.
I'll be here
Kimono.
Sunday, as long as I'm not sick. Oh God.
Why did you curse yourself? Why did you do it?
It felt good all week. Let's be real.
Oh, they're gummies.
Like sour bite.
Oh.
Little punchies.
No, but these ones are just mini
But
bites.
yeah, I hear ya. Hope you're okay. Thank you.
Oh, someone hit me.
I
and
hope you're doing good
can't
too.
jump anymore.
You missed it. I just braided it. It was all. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like pink in it now. I dyed my hair,
Ooh.
like half of it.
Damn. Dream, how did you jump in such a short distance? That's impressive.
I just
Yeah, but
used
it's also for
back
free.
Aye, aye,
Someone hit
aye.
me.
jumping
Keep
All in
going.
one.
She spins me right round, baby.
Baby, right around.
Frick up,
Oh, no.
Oh, now my hair's gonna look even frizzier because of the hat.
Oh, this one always gives me trouble too. Yep,
The
I hit
internet ruined
somebody.
that song. The internet ruined that song for me.
Oh, let's not talk about that website.
You want to talk about
Oh
Rick Ross?
god, that one, no.
There you
Let's not talk about that website.
No.
I
You
don't
mean
know what
nuh-uh?
we're talking about.
You don't want to know. It's okay.
Yeah, trust me, you don't want to know.
No.
Oh?
I mean, it's not as bad as some other ones that
don't
existed at
know.
the same time, but
Okay,
Oh god, yeah.
I gotta ask Kimona. How?
I don't know. I'm just on a roll. Sorta, kinda. I still have
killing it. Killing
two of them that it took me 3. Jolly Rancher, be my
How the fuck?
friend.
Why didn't I fall directly in the hole?
Oh no.
Oh, I didn't realize the full
Prince is
yeet.
gonna be mad at me.
I'm not actually.
I interfered with your hole.
Oh, wow.
Oh no.
The audacity! I needed
That's
that
what
hole,
she
man.
said.
And that's why you proceeded to make gases
Is it
sounds
Four Loko?
afterwards. Jeez.
Four Locos have been outlawed for a while.
They've been out for a hot minute, yeah.
What are you drinking?
Four Loco.
Right.
It's the new Warheads one.
No, don't fall in the tiny hole.
No.
Jump out of it.
Was there a
Baby.
was there a 3 local before local?
No, there was not.
No, it's always been Four Loco, but way back in the day it had caffeine in it, but they had a lot of lawsuits saying,
It was
hey,
like, what is that drink you guys have in Scotland?
Iron Brew.
No, not Iron Brew. It's the alcoholic one. The
Dragon's
what's his
Brew.
name? No. You remember from Joe's channel? There was that one Scottish dude that always drank the big bottles of the.
Oh,
it's like
Buckfast.
caffeinated. Oh, Buckfast. Yeah.
There we go.
It's similar to that.
Oh, well, fuck, buddy. I bet it's not as trashy as Buckfast though.
Oh.
well, not
Oh.
only that, but there's no caffeine in it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because of the lawsuits and all that.
Yeah, you can't have caffeine. You can't mix speed and alcohol.
well, fucking
It's true. That's a bad idea. Don't try it.
Buckfast still proves
Don't
different.
believe me? Ask your dad.
Yes, you're dead.
Daddy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
turn
Tomorrow I
it to
could.
here.
I have no
I
idea
don't
about
know.
Buckfast.
Hard Mountain Dew, which doesn't have caffeine, and I'm drinking an energy drink right now.
The headache times 2 in the withdrawal.
How
Buckfast? So
good.
You don't get caffeine withdrawal or anything like that?
No,
I don't get caffeine
No.
withdrawals.
nah, the
Really
thing
not.
with
Sometimes
I've drank
they,
caffeine my entire life
What,
and
God,
never
Jeff?
had a
Good
withdrawal.
shot.
That's because you keep drinking it.
I was gonna say it's because
Yeah, you don't have to have one.
Yeah.
That's it. But I don't think I think caffeine
What's
is
the
one of
dog
those things
doing?
that it would take, like, not having it for a week or something, probably, to really.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
freak
wait,
out
like,
about it, or maybe
I have
3
gone,
days or
like,
something.
I have gone at least like a month or so without drinking anything with caffeine in it before and
Yeah.
never had issues.
I mean,
Mhm.
even
Well,
when I
also, you
reduced,
probably don't regularly drink energy drinks.
But did you
No, I
drink
don't.
sodas?
Well, even when I reduced my caffeine
No, I
intake,
was
you're welcome.
I was primarily drinking water and juice.
Did you get 2? Damn.
Yeah.
Alright, somebody's gotta go here. Okay.
Even when I reduced my caffeine intake, I didn't get a
Aw.
caffeine withdrawal.
No!
But I used to have
Yeah,
before.
Hi.
Got it. Finally.
I used to
Drinks
have.
like crazy
I used to have what was it like?
every night.
Well,
Three cups
I
of
can't
coffee.
drink most energy
Dude.
drinks anymore. That's why I drink the
Well,
Alani
catch-
when I need one.
The only thing I've ever had withdrawals from is nicotine. So kids, if you're listening, don't smoke.
Please,
Don't tell.
don't. For the love of God.
Oh
Save
my
yourself.
God.
I have a
Shit.
full-size one in here.
No cigarettes, no vapes, none of anything with.
Full-size one found its way in.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
only thing I've had issues with in my life. Like everything else, I can give up a drop of a hat. But nicotine, whew.
Yeah.
Nicotine is rat poison.
have no Poke dollars.
Have you totally gone off nicotine now, Splints?
No, I'm still vaping.
But
Still
what
vaping.
what percentage of vape are you on?
3%. 3%.
Oh, that's
It's slow.
fucking. That's still great. Like a cigarette.
Yeah, but it's still.
No
Oh,
shot
somebody
will
moved me.
Whoa! 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 No! This is not where I want to be.
Get in the
That's a lot.
fucking hole for Christ's sake.
That's a lot of
No.
No,
fun.
no, there either.
Oh no!
Where are you going?
Kimono fell off the slide.
I was trying
Yeah, I'm
to get
probably-
on the
I'm
slide,
so
and I keep
The slide is hard to get right. It's
mean, you
easier
have
to
a
just go
mouse?
beyond it.
Oh,
no.
forget it.
It's easier
Forget
to
it.
go
You know,
past
I
it.
full yeeted at that green Jolly Rancher ahead, and I always end up on the slide.
Mm-mm.
do you fleet?
Yep.
Like that?
Yeah, except
Oh,
that
that worked. That
Oh,
worked.
not the
That
way it
worked.
is.
It works.
Fucking.
Normally it's a lot smoother.
Now we know. Just full
You
yeet
know
at the
what?
Jolly
Yeah.
Rancher and work your way around.
That's
None of
fucking
you guys have ever listened to me when I say that either.
golden
That's
tips.
not
Golden
how I
tips.
do it.
Yo.
Nuh-uh.
I dreams.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
sir.
Okay,
Yes.
turn.
Look at
Sir.
all those hole-in-ones.
You
Fucking
guys.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell.
Thanks, Jeff. Sorry.
I got excited.
Sorry, Jeff.
Aw.
Maybe
I
next
went-
time.
Mine's
I
a
went
hole in
less
two.
and I went less and I get fucking worse.
Okay though.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I almost
'Cause you suck
fell
dreams.
off the course.
Oh,
I was lucky to
be
get
nice
back
to
on myself.
dreams.
Oh no.
I don't wanna.
It's ladies' form of care.
It's her prerogative.
She
Yeah.
does.
Oh, there's a good shot.
Oh,
You
that-
are, buddy. If you had just done that from the start.
I was an inch out, alright? Inches out.
Don't worry, I'm
I
You know-
always aim for the corner of the second square in from the left.
Get off me, dick.
let's go.
Who said what?
What? What did he say?
What did he say?
So it
No,
gets
no,
stuck.
no, no, no.
Slow ride. Oh
Get
no, I went
stuck
too
on
far.
the Jolly Rancher.
Oh no 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 no! Oh, I fell.
Ah, I missed the
So
shot.
we got some moves because we made it
No.
around it.
Oh man, a fuck.
No, don't. Not
I'm
again.
losing
Not
all the
again.
ground I gained. It
Yeah.
sucks.
I should have jumped.
Y'all
Oh,
all
I think I
playing
know-
in the
I think I know
grass,
that.
and they're
You
just
should've
supposed
zig-
to be going
you
for the
zig-
hole.
You zigged where you should have zagged.
I
Damn.
Fuck. I was still playing in the grass.
Outside.
Like
I
a
heard
double
there was
bogey.
something nice to be
Honorable
found up
bee.
there, though.
What a mess.
Get
Can't
lost,
help
man.
it.
Like I'm
Cave.
I'm in between. I'm in between of everything.
What the fuck?
Oh jeez.
Like no, it's too much. Let's go full. Let's go fucking full.
God damn it.
Full mount. No, it's
Remember,
More to
Barbara?
the right, because the fucking
Yeah.
treadmill's insane.
I know. Ah.
I go slightly to the right and then I don't
Right,
jump.
okay.
Hush puppy.
Everybody be quiet, don't tell me what to do. Because I feel the same way when I'm shooting and everybody's like, oh, you just need to...
Mhm.
I got my right, so
God
let's
damn
mix
it.
up.
That's when I ignore everyone.
I have a thing where I can't. Brain's
just
like, no, I
can't.
have to
Literally.
listen.
And just in general, you should can't.
Last shot.
Oh, good. You're cold too.
Do you remember that saying? Like
I'm
it used to be,
cold.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Now we got
You're just
Skibbity
so fun.
Toilet and Gyat.
Yeah.
How can I get 13 shots? What's max shot?
So Splits, when is Yeet and Halfany gonna kick on? Kick in, you know?
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeet
I
and
don't
Halfany.
know.
We need
I'm
some
not quite there.
Halfanies.
Also,
and
we need Rose because she's the official keeper
Senpais.
of the measurements.
She is.
I know. She's a slacker.
How am I still last?
Half a neat, or half a yeet rather, is half the bar. A full yeet is a full send.
Yep.
And what was half a knee? It was like.
Ooh, that was close splints.
Oh,
Half-
remember
half
Oh,
Halfany?
I'm still getting in there. I'm still getting in there.
So you had yeets being like full send. You had half a knee being like
Should've jumped.
half a marker.
It was actually a quarter. So a half a knee was a quarter up the bar, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So then you had well, I think we got confused between full yeet and full send to
And then there's the splints. There's a full
No,
splints.
What is that?
but then
I don't
there was a
remember what a full
yeet-
splints was.
a
I don't
yeet
remember.
was
That's when you can't even stay on the course, I think.
a yeet was a marker, half a knee became half a marker, I believe, and then there was full send, and it just like it became a full fucking mathematical problem. Like we even had
Yeah.
Rose be like, "Oh well, this is like we have to figure this out mathematically," and that's when I started
Well,
fucking loving it.
Rose created a spreadsheet of it all.
Oh yeah, as to what it all meant.
Yeah.
And you
It was
performed a
incredible.
dance for us, Dreams. You were like, you know, all up, dancing around, measuring, you know? You're like, what the
I don't fucking remember this. When the fuck did this happen?
He did, and he was like up demonstrating.
You were trying
Well,
to
that's like
understand what
we're
half a knee
here.
was.
No way. Oh
Yeah.
fuck.
You pulled
Oh,
your
no.
leg up on stream so that we could see
Yeah.
what half a knee was.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, that's
Oh.
Y'all picked the wrong tunnel.
It was funny.
Do you know what? I've never done that before in my life.
but you did.
Well,
Yeah, you did. It was-
I want the proof.
But you did.
You were like wearing shorts that day too, so we were just
Oh, was
like,
it? Is that fucking
Yeah.
happening? Funny. Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
you were getting mad at us because we kept talking about half a knee, and you're like, what is all that? What does that mean?
What is
So-
all that, isn't it?
I didn't go full Scots, did I? Like fucking.
you were pretty
God.
frustrated, and we were just enjoying the show.
All right. Well, I'm glad someone did because now I get cringe to fucking think about it.
Look at you.
I mean, you must have been like, you know, going, "Ooh, look at my leg." We were just laughing.
Look at my leg.
Yeah,
My leg.
It's dead sexy.
we were just.
Look at my big,
We were
look
like,
at my big head.
we're
Look at my
terrible.
big
We're
hitty
terrible.
leg.
We're terrible. So we
Okay,
kept
some of it
asking
may
you.
have been made up, but
I
really
think
it
we were
happened.
triggering him at that point to keep going too. I think that's part of it. We were
Probably,
triggering him to
No,
keep going.
it's. Do you know what? It's perfectly fucking fine, and I love it
Yeah.
because see, when we get moments like this and we're just talking about it, that's what makes memories for me.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about
It was
half
a
a
good
knee and a
time.
full yeet and whatever, I'm like,
now you'll know. And
even
knowing's half
now-
the battle. G.I. Joe.
even now when we're talking about it, like being such a
Now,
monumental fucking.
do I
day,
need to pull it back up again and read it to you guys? I totally can.
Like,
I need to make that a meme.
it would have got some views. It wouldn't have gone
Let's see
viral,
it.
I don't think.
I think we
No,
actually
no,
lost
I meant,
viewers
like, the
during that.
words.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I think we did.
Oh,
I think we
like a
did.
chart.
Like, I
No,
would-
we were like, oh yeah, and then the whole time system. I love the time system.
What was the time system?
Oh yeah, it's a
Not-
half hour.
Got him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's a half hour. An ooh is 15 minutes. See you in an ooh.
Yes. Oh no.
Watch
1 hour was these nuts.
Got him.
And a
Got
wafu was 45 minutes.
Waifu.
A waifu?
Yeah.
Oh
like this.
wow.
I got waffle.
Oh, we're a bunch of dirty bastards.
We are indeed.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh mate.
Cheers.
Fucking.
Oh, that's the one he was demonstrating was the dickeny.
The Duckany. Yeah,
He's
that-
demonstrating.
Hold on. You're mispronouncing is a decany.
A decany? Are you sure?
Deca.
Yes, because it's like a
That makes
decameter.
sense.
No, there was the decany, aka dickeny.
Oh yeah, we did.
I'm mispronouncing it.
God.
No.
Oh,
Knee.
see the moment
AKA
she made.
dickeny. It's tenth
moment-
of a
Her
knee.
dick.
It's a tenth
the
of a
mo-
knee.
It's a New Zealand accent over here. It's a decany.
Dick and knee.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. Never mind.
So if it's a dickany, then what's a chickeny?
Holy balls.
Who knows? I don't know.
Just
I don't
put
know,
that out
that's not
there.
on here.
Like what's a
For a
chickeny?
second, I almost tried to put some.
Oh, I would buy it again.
You almost tried
For
to
a
what?
split second, I wanted to input some logic there, and then I realized
No.
that that's not the. This isn't the place for logic.
I know what a
so I shut
chickeny
up.
is. Like,
No.
Not
like,
really. No, not really.
A full senpai is 4 yeets. Okay, that one I can. That one I can remember.
full
A full
senpai is
senpai
four
is
yeet.
4 yeets.
But no, but it can't be because a full yeet is all 4 of them bars, so that's a full
Yeah,
yeet,
that's a full senpai. Mhm.
which is basically a full send.
Okay. Yeah.
So a
that's
half
why
a
it's a
senpai is 2 yeets.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah. Each bar is a yeet.
Yeah.
And it's a
That's what it
full
was, is each
senpai when
bar
you do
was
a
a
full
yeet.
yeet.
Each
Ah.
bar is a yeet. Yeah.
That's how this whole thing started. Was how many
Yeah.
yeets?
We're starting it
grab
back
your
up again. Starting it back up again, boys and girls.
Hey Mono, I have a question.
Uh huh.
With all this weird weeaboo language, I have a question. Where
Okay.
does ada ada fit into your equation?
Oh, that's when you get a hole in one.
It didn't
Ah.
make it to it. Oh, okay, okay.
I don't think that was in that.
That's when you get
I-
69.
Nice.
Ada.
Yeah.
It's more like a magic trick, like ada.
No, you're not enough of
That's
a
it.
to
It's-
understand what
it's-
you're talking about.
No.
Like-
Yeah, exactly.
Holy balls.
Well, that's probably about a 3/4 of a knee.
Oh yeah, the balls.
God
Smash.
damn it.
Sorry, buddy. Oh my gosh, you guys, what are you doing? You messed up
I mean,
the
I-
shout.
I just want to point out, I do get the ada. I do get the ada thing. I'm just kind of meaning like,
No, don't get hit by a ball. No. Okay. Oh god.
That's a
No,
big ass
oh, no.
Well,
ball.
demonstrate it for us properly then, Dreams.
Yes.
what's that? The ada?
Yeah.
No.
You gotta do it
No.
properly though.
Nah.
I'm a little
do it.
confused
I
about how this is going to be demonstrated, but I'm
I got
curious.
hit by like.
I was about to say there's only 2 people in this chat that can do this correctly.
Vocalize it.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
no!
only a
I'm
couple
Splits.
people here that can vocalize that correctly.
Splints could do it.
You can actually hit it.
I'm not a
Yes.
fucking. I'm not a stage monkey, all right?
Voice, voice acting? That's not stage monkey.
You're just a monkey.
Oh my god, this one gives me so much anxiety.
What are you trying to
Jump over the
verbalize
top right
properly?
Ada.
That.
Oh god.
Can you do it, Prince?
Ada.
Not bad, not bad. Look at you. Okay, nobody got 69 though. Dang it. Dreams, you were the closest, I think. You had 70.
We're
I'm
close.
sorry,
Rainbow Square Trail. Updating.
I got a dunce cap.
I got the black cap.
Alright, I'm
I
gonna grab a
dump
drink
there.
and then I say we do a round of speed golf.
Oh boy, I need to get a drink for
Back.
that one.
I don't think escape is
Back.
big
Drink.
enough for that.
I'll be right back.
Enabled speed golf, escapist, yes, okay. I did select the right speed golf.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Jumps are on,
I don't
right?
think you saved the custom.
That's good.
Wah,
to know.
wah,
As long as
wah.
jumps are on, I'm good.
Mm,
Yes, it's automatically on that game. That's why.
Oh.
Alright, I'm gonna grab another drink though. You
All
guys
this
hang
talking
tight.
knees and- all this talking knees and senpais is kind of fucking making me want to play golf.
Hit some
Like,
balls,
so-
if you will.
So what's your handicap? Well,
Been
Stop.
also enabled.
so
You are sniffing the back of my leg. That's weird.
what?
Puddles.
Alright, okay. So it's
I'll
like,
come grab it.
wait, is this what?
Because I have my legs up on top of my
Is this what
desk,
gets you confused, is it?
and he likes to be underneath me and like underneath my desk, and but he'll reach up sometimes to get my attention. And
I
I
was
hate it
gonna-
because he reaches up and touches my legs sometimes.
I was
Yeah.
gonna, I was gonna go along the lines of when I go into a competition, they're like, so what was your score? What handicap you got? And I'm like, well, or fucking like half a senpai, like fucking 3/4 of a knee. You know?
Puddles.
You will.
Baby.
Eat the butcher
Nice,
shot.
sir. My baby. He is 14 and a half pounds.
I should point out that whenever someone mentions
He's
the
chunky
fucking
boy.
whatever the fuck it is, I automatically think of Big Hero 6, where he's like, yeah, I like that film. It's nice.
That's a different thing.
I know it's a totally different thing. I know it's
That's not
what
that.
you're referring to
And
is
you
the
should
anime
not
thing.
mix them because it is totally inappropriate for Big Hero 6 to be saying.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, cool.
I know that it's a totally different thing. I know that one of them's anime and one of them isn't, and one of them's a kids program.
And the other is not so much.
Yeah.
Love
Teen
boy.
audience.
He goes, you know, kids can watch whatever they want.
I mean, it's teen audiences. Big Hero 6,
Hi.
honestly.
They're not gonna make the connection. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you look back on Tom and Jerry and the things
Boss,
that like
go lay the
all
fuck
the,
down.
the
No one
kids
loves you.
programs that you watch previously,
Well,
and they pause
I
it.
think it differ.
a moment.
I
There are
think it
some
depends on the
fucking
director. Chuck Jones was actually rather innocent in his.
Well, look how it panned
Huh?
out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's because
What you
everybody
call them?
animated them and directed them differently.
Mm.
That is true.
But they were also directed all innocently. It's just the fucking human
No.
mind.
You've
I
never
think
seen
so.
a Tex Avery one, apparently.
A what savory one?
Tex Avery.
Gibbity.
He was the one that did most of the Looney Tunes.
Oh, well, I love the Looney Tunes as well.
Yeah, he also had a lot of racist humor in Tom and Jerry's.
Did, oh, well,
Well, yeah.
What's that,
I
Dan?
mean, that was that
Such
generation,
was the
unfortunately.
time.
no,
Yeah.
it's crazy because when I spoke to my wee brother about, you know, getting his son Finn introduced into Tom and Jerry because we grew up with Tom and Jerry and I always thought it was fucking
It
crazy funny.
peaches hitting.
He said no to it, which is fine. And it wasn't even for the sexual connotations that we look back on it now. It's more for the fact that it's like one fucking thing, an animal
Sorry.
beating up another animal,
Mhm.
and
Why
he's like,
do
I
you
don't
not
want
get
to. I
mad
don't
at beating
want to
up
jump
a
to be doing
mouse?
that.
Masculine
About
mix.
to
Because that's not
say-
always the case.
All right, never mind. I won't bring it up again. That's wow.
Also,
Hey.
where do you
Look,
not
There
get
were
a
some
big
comments
bulldog
there that
going
I'm
after
like,
a
what do you
cat?
mean?
Oh yeah, well.
Fuck you mean?
You know
I
what? You
never
know what
really-
we're missing tonight? You know what we're missing?
Hmm.
Where's Michigan? We're missing
Oh,
Michigan.
She's watching
he's
somebody's
dog
dog.
sitting.
Oh,
What's
that's
the
right.
dog doing?
Can I
Yeah,
pet
he's,
that
out,
now?
he's out of town. And
That's
he's like,
right.
oh, I can't be
Ow.
bothered to get on my
Law of
phone.
averages.
Did you do that
course
intentionally,
not.
Splints?
What?
He's out of
What's the
town.
dog doing?
No,
I mean, if I did it, I
Not like that
clearly did
dog.
it with intention.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the extenuation of the word, like, he's out of
You,
town.
you love that word. Oh my god.
So the reason I say it is that, see, if I go to Glasgow,
Extenuation.
yeah, if I go to Glasgow and I say, I'm out of town, they're like, town, are you out of
Joffrey,
town?
you here?
Or if you
You're
got a
out
pound,
of town.
I am.
Okay,
if you
yeah.
got a
Go ahead,
pound,
start.
and it's like, oh, I got a pound.
There's a
Oh,
poon.
no.
Yeah, it's like how now,
You're
brown
gonna love this.
cow. You know what I mean?
God, dude.
How now, brown cow?
It's so cute.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
It's
You
Sailor
know,
Moon, too.
That's
Here
so
we go.
cute. I love that. Is it like one of those makeup
Well, I've
ones?
never done this.
Yeah.
Time is up.
No.
Makeup kitty cat
Less
head
time
thing.
means better
Oh,
score.
thanks.
I was
Thank
there.
you. Thank you. Less time means
I
better
would need to
score,
hit
yes.
Oh, I forgot we're playing speed golf already. Dang it.
Yeah,
I fucking chipped out.
I'm the last one in.
I'm like taking my time, forgetting that we're playing speed golf.
Right?
I thought I had my shot lined up, but I didn't wait for the timer, so like
That
I
was
didn't have any forward momentum yet.
Go!
And you fail.
6.99 was pretty close to 69.
Pew, pew.
Holy shit.
No, wrong way.
Whoa, temptingly close.
Oh, I forgot we could hit the S.
It's
Oh man, that
tantalizing.
was the last one. Look
Rim.
at Flo and Paul is moving.
I know, mine did that too.
How did you get stuck that way?
Come on up.
I don't know.
What happened?
The
Remember
devastating.
you can hit spacebar for brakes.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
S,
It's
yeah.
S. It's S for
Oh,
me.
is it?
It depends on how you have it mapped, but yeah, S is default, I think.
I'll take those shins, boy.
The 3-2-1 is what messes me up, because like I'm always trying to wait for it. Oh
What
God, set me
happened? We all
back.
hit each other.
How did
Oh,
Dang
now
it.
I'm going forward.
Never.
All right, stop it. Stop it, mate.
Nuh-uh.
Oh fuck! I bounced off the hole.
We're gonna hyperventilate.
Stop hitting me.
And again!
Nuh-uh.
Hey, Brookie.
Okay, you're right. it
And the
is
words begin.
I'll tap it in for 33. 23.
Pretty too good for your home. I went from 3rd to 6th or 2nd to 6th. Wow. Oh, because we're all tied for 4th. That's why.
Yeah.
Give it a full 10 pie towards back wall, guys.
Oh my god.
And then through the
Talk
chair
again.
legs. Oh no.
Jesus Christ. Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Oh, someone just pushed me in!
Bumping me.
Someone just it was funny.
Damn it.
Thanks,
I-
buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
only.
right as you hit me, I'm like, ew, woo. Like, it was totally random. It just worked out.
Ooh, ooh. What's happening in 15 minutes? What's this? Oh my.
No.
That's what's happening in 15 minutes. Okay.
That's another
Somebody
crazy
is.
thing. Damn it.
3, 2, 1.
If I knew the context and we didn't do it right, then I would.
Oh,
my
dang.
Oh no!
Oh no! I don't
Here's
even
my
know what
thing
I'm
on
doing
playing
here.
Speed mode, and I
Sorry.
I'm not good at like swinging around and hitting
Me
it in a
neither.
different direction really fast.
I messed all this up. I'm so
I gotta see.
sorry.
That's why I'm so round.
Doesn't love me.
Oh, so round. Oh no!
It's time to jump around and Prince. Who will make it into the hole first?
Not me, that's for damn sure.
Are we 1302 on that one? I'll take it.
Hmm.
Where's that put me? Oh, it puts me
Brock,
first.
I can't see there.
Dreams is dreaming.
Monty!
You're not actually in 4th, you're in a higher position, but you just failed to realize that. No!
oh,
Damn it, I
Right
hate
down
being
the
down here.
hole.
I hate
Bastard.
being down here.
Down, down.
Oh, whoa, that works, that works, that works. I'll
Oh,
take it, I'll
Stop,
take
stop,
it.
stop,
Yes!
Damn it, Split.
Dude,
Oh
the
my
little
God, who
portal,
did
the portal guns.
I blame
I
dreams.
seen that portal.
I blame dreams. That
seen
sounds good.
We're not playing Portal, what do you mean?
I seen that
No,
portal and I
I
was.
hit it, and it put me
What?
right next to the hole, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
I seen that portal and I was just like, I wonder if.
That's pretty much what I did. I was like, let's see what happens.
Slow it down.
And then I held S down because I was like, I don't know how hard this is
Mother-
gonna send me.
Use S to stop yourself, my guy.
Chickadee
I've never
chicken.
played this game mode before.
There.
How do I fucking lose that? Oh,
I got second
wait.
in that though.
I'll
take
wait,
it.
I'll wait,
You
I'll wait.
have to
Let's
wait
go.
for the second scoreboard to come up, dude. Don't read the first one.
3, 2, 1. Across the water hole.
Oh no, I bounced. What the hell?
Oh yeah.
Beat that, motherfuckers.
I did. Haha.
At 5.
It's a race. What am I doing?
5 seconds.
I beat
No
you.
It's a race.
fucking
What am I
shot.
doing?
I mean,
Just
I
look.
got
No
Hit-
fucking shot.
Hit
at
tab.
5.
Hit tab. Hit tab. You'll see.
No! No!
actually, you won't
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
How does it work?
Yeah.
Give it a second.
You can't
This
see.
mod is
It took
taking
me a
forever.
whole-
You know,
Look.
Anna.
Anyway.
Fucking
It's supposed to show
Five-
you though. I was still yeah.
5/500ths of a second, by the way. Just fucking point that out. 5/100ths of a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fucking suck.
It's 5/100ths of a second.
Oh,
for fuck's
no!
sake.
God
Hey.
fucking damn it.
What happened? How did I go that way?
So
Somebody-
apparently,
Oh,
588 beat
splits.
that.
oh, I ain't beating
No, no, no,
shit.
no, no, no.
Not
Shit.
today.
Not
He
Yeah,
has
no,
a
no,
cute
no.
little
Gopher, but
bumblebee
this
outfit
is
on.
fun.
It's so cute.
It do be fun.
I'm so bad at this, but it's
We
fun.
yell at each other, but it's cute because we're not like serious.
We'll
This
yell at
is
each other because
irritating.
it's cute.
Yeah,
Watch
we
you
yell
jump.
at each other, but it's
Why
cute
you
because
go-
we're
why
not
you jumping?
serious.
Stop bumping me!
It's like I'll cry because I'm happy. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's the same
What
thing.
the fuck? Logic.
Damn, this is
Logic.
irritating.
Look
This
at
isn't
that,
fun.
588.
Oh, come on, oh. Fucking
Yes.
For first. Uh-oh.
chasing your
Oh
ass,
God,
mate.
what am I gonna do on this one? What am I
Chase
gonna do?
your ass.
I don't know.
Oh, crap.
Nope, didn't make it. Alright. Oh, wait.
Oh, shit,
No,
hold on.
I did.
I
Where's
did
the
have it.
hole? Oh, it's over that way.
Oh.
Bruh.
Yeah! Look at all of us. Right on 11.
Except for
That's
Dreams.
crazy.
Poor dreams.
Oh.
What do you mean, poor dreams? 15 seconds is my...
Per dreams, per dreams.
Yeah, 15 seconds is my PB.
Dreamweaver.
Sorry, this mod's taking forever.
Except he's
for
a
Baldur's Gate.
dream waver.
Waver. Yeah.
Which I've known him for years, and I still think he's Dreamweaver, but he's Dreamwaver.
Me too. And I don't even know what a dreamweaver is.
Okay, so
I
it
know
all
the
started.
wafers. Like
It all
crackers.
started.
A Dreamwafer.
Wafer. Ah!
Ah,
Quick,
Everybody
close
keeps
me!
hitting me.
Get out of the
Who's hitting
way.
me?
Get out of the way.
Get out the way! Fucking who's got the eggs?
No. Get in there, get in there, get in there, get in there. Oh, come on.
So
Get it, Shane.
there's a reason for the dream waiver, and
Okay.
it's meant
I'm sure
to be,
there is, but
it's yeah, okay, probably for a different
Because you
time.
don't know how to spell.
No,
Yeah.
well, there's that as well.
Lawyer agreement.
It's like, huh?
Jaffron, I was taking a drink.
This is
that
what I
was
think
rude.
of. You're dreaming and somebody is waving. Hi.
Correct.
Hi,
How
I'm
you
dream
doing?
waving.
Oh no, oh no. Catching up.
Legal agreement.
It was meant to
Like,
be
what
like
do I do?
say goodbye to someone's dreams,
I'm
but
catching up to you. Oh, fuck.
you're
No.
good. You're on
Yeah.
home.
Get me out of the way.
3 seconds.
Right.
75.
That's what
Hit me
happens
there,
when
like,
everybody tries to
supposed
get in the
be.
same hole.
7 hole in 1.
Get the same one. Same
Hole,
one.
but
I heard that wrong.
hole.
Hole.
I mean, at this particular point, there were a lot
I,
of people.
I heard that way wrong, Splits.
There were-
In the same hole? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on!
that's all.
Get the same
I'm
one,
just-
yeah.
Yeah, there's loads of people trying to go for that hole.
Oh god, what did I do?
Dang it.
Oh!
Stop.
Nailed it!
Stop.
Let's go.
Stop. No.
Let's go.
Reset.
Oh shit.
Jump.
Damn, dream.
Get in the hole.
I was so close to being almost in the first.
I messed that all up.
Mate, no one can find a hole quicker.
I was still in before Mono. So.
He's cheating over here. He's using flour.
Stay away from
Oh
him.
god, I should not have said that.
I didn't realize it was like that. I thought it was just like as soon as you get it in the hole quicker than the other person, or better than the other person, then like a hole in one.
Look at me.
No,
I'm
no,
taking
No,
fun
no,
of
Rain
that
it's
one.
speed. It
is
doesn't
on
matter how
top,
fast you get it.
guys.
It
She
matters.
is on top.
Well, sorry, how fast you get it is what matters.
Oh, okay.
Rain is on top. Oh my god, what happened? That was a trick.
We're all everywhere. Stop.
Portal
Fuck
is
me.
alive.
For just a goddamn second so I can take a shot.
Nope. 7.1
Damn it.
second. That's a PB.
Oy, 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 oy.
Backwards.
Like we should be getting
You're
a
about
safe
to
word.
leave the course.
Like there has to be a safe word.
I can't believe
You were.
Did you jump out of the?
Yeah, you were in the hole.
You jumped out of the hole.
I did my
Could've done
best.
Lady with fucking 6 seconds. Jesus Christ.
Because she was just like one away from me, but now I messed it all up. Oh.
fucked up. I 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 fucked up.
Yes,
Oh,
you did.
man.
Strucko, I'm sorry.
Massively fucked up.
Everybody's keep-
Massively fucked up.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you, buddy.
Oh, I'm well in. Oh, if I get it in quicker than 69, great.
Great. It's
Isn't that
my
cool?
island.
If you're going for 69, you got plenty of time.
It's my magic
draw-
life counter, and it's
I'm-
color changing.
Drawn it out. Drawn it out.
Magic.
Ah, look
you
at that.
barely play magic and you have a life counter? What are you? What?
I mean, I have.
What?
Yeah, it was gifted to me
Very
Did he-
nice. Very
I love
nice.
my dragon
because
count.
I was
Hell yeah.
playing with my friends,
My friends.
and this one allows me to go up higher, so I can have way more health than 40 on the basic shit that I got with my commander deck. Oh shit.
Oh, dang it. Dang it. Dang it. What am I doing? Oh, okay.
Damn it, Bobby.
Okay. Damn it, Bobby. You would have been whacking in my tool shed.
Shit, I fucked up.
Lady, you might be interested in
Catch
this.
if you're
but
catching
there is
Pokeball, guys.
there's a coffee mug that you can
Where are
get
you, Jeff, from?
that has like a well, you
My
play
jumping's
D&D,
not
yeah.
working.
So there's a
Also,
coffee
you're
mug
in a place that shouldn't have been
that
legal.
has like a you can drop like a D20 or whatever the fuck it may be, or a dice, or die,
How is
from the
that
top.
36
top
seconds.
mug.
There's a
And it-
tower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a die tower.
yeah, and you can it basically comes out as whatever
69
the fuck
friends.
number, and that's cool.
You in?
I don't know that. I would like that, but I don't need that.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
So I'm
That's
guessing-
the wrong one.
Oh, no.
Hi,
I was
sis.
so close.
Damn it! I
Don't
was
touch
right
me there. That's my no-no square, sluts.
You touched me in my no-no square.
I'll take a 14.
No, no, don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
I just realized that Prince's thing lights up whenever someone's talking.
His thing lights up.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Headset, like
Blah,
the
blah.
light
This headset.
change when someone's talking, yeah.
Blah blah blah.
It's set to music, in other words, and we're the music. We gotta sing.
We are the music.
You are
the lights.
Music. Gonna sing
Gonna be close.
Thank God it's not the karaoke stream and you don't
Nobody
have to listen to me
loves
croon.
us.
At this point, I'd rather be a karaoke stream than this.
What? But our
This game mode sucks.
voices are beautiful.
No. It's great.
Dude, I did so bad because last time I was like, oh, I'll do Barbie Girl. That's an innocent song.
I'm a
and then I started
Barbie
really
girl.
reading the lyrics and I'm like, oh, this is
Oh my
problematic.
In a
Oh my
Barbie
God.
world. It's fantastic.
It blew my mind. I was just like, oh, okay. I
Yeah,
didn't
no.
realize that's what it said.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh no, I forgot to go. Shoot.
Pee before you go.
I forgot to go.
Oh mate.
Like, do things and
She's
stuff.
sitting back at the starting line. Tell me when to go.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here, doing nothing and playing with Discord settings because I realized that you guys were way louder than me or something, and I was like, what the
I
heck?
demand, but
I mean, I do, but it hasn't been me, I don't think. It
are you,
could've been
Oh,
me, I
your
don't know.
Canadian sensibilities upset?
I'm not upset.
I know, I'm just messing with it. I think it's funny.
It's the carbonation.
Oh no, this really messed me up. This is not good. This is not good. Not good.
This might be good.
Not good. This one might be good.
Oh
If
wow.
can get in there.
I don't even. That
Okay,
needs to be clipped because that was impossible. What just happened was impossible.
Fuck,
It
go
needs
back
to be
down that
clipped.
hill.
No,
Shit.
don't.
I literally put on speed brakes midair and went backwards versus off the track.
I'd
You
fucking,
fucking
no,
reverse?
I reversed. I was flying past the course and I hit S and it brought me back into the course like I bounced off a wall or something. And I didn't because there was
You
no
know
wall.
what? That's something I haven't tried. Is when you're in the air, if you hit S, what happens?
Can I be
Apparently
honest
you
with
go in
this entire
reverse.
time? I'll be honest with you, this entire time I've not even used the speed
Congrats!
break thing.
Same.
So.
Oh,
you're
it's a
all struggling. You need
lifesaver.
the speed break.
When you
How
use it, it's a
Only if
lifesaver.
you don't know how to push in your shots.
I
Well,
got the dunce cap. How appropriate.
when I go, I don't need nothing to stop me. So.
I'm currently wearing a pinata. I like that. I have like the little donkey pinata.
Brakes would be greatly beneficial on this course.
It would
Those
be greatly beneficial
dang
in regular
coal
golf.
cars.
Could you imagine if we always had brakes?
I know,
that'd be
it would
cool.
be so awesome.
What?
How do you break a
What
spear
the
while
fuck are you
rolling?
on about?
We would always like
Yes.
brakes. We always want brakes in golf.
We want jumps and
Like,
brakes.
how would you even apply that
24/7.
mechanic?
You mean the game? You mean the
Yeah.
game, presumably? Oh,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
of course.
So we can brake anywhere on the map and not like
Oh,
roll
okay. 'Cause I was
into
thinking, I was thinking
where we don't
like,
want to go.
in actual
Jumps and
golf,
brakes.
you
Where
do
it's
have brakes.
things.
Jumps and brakes.
Just get backspin.
Yeah.
Jaffron's got his hand in his head, being like, "Not this fucking shit today."
Oh no, I'm just rubbing my eyes.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm fucking done."
He's like, I'm over you guys.
It is kinda
That was me earlier. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Drink, that was me earlier. Not this shit today. That was me earlier.
Oh, with the
That was
full
you.
senpais.
Unhappy.
Yeah.
He's like, every time we go into that, he's like, oh no.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro.
Oh, I know this again.
I'm like
Mm-hmm.
fucking.
You know I love you. You know I love you guys.
Of course.
I love you too, buddy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oddness.
And I should not have brought that up. I'm kicking myself now. I
What?
should not have brought that up.
Your fault.
The half-a-knees?
No.
No.
Oh yeah.
One of the multiple running gags
I,
right here.
I'm not sensitive.
Is that
to
who we are now? We're multiple running gags.
I'm literally gonna fuck
That's a
you
good
off.
name. Multiple running gags. It sounds very like
Mona can do it, but when the rest of y'all did that,
I
it
have
was
to
just a little
say this
odd.
in
I have to
condiment.
It
say.
makes you cringe because
Yeah.
you feel something
I
for
have
me.
to practice because I just
You wish.
dude,
You
what
wish.
incarnation? I don't know.
Feel some
I don't know,
kind of
Prince.
way.
Yeah.
Don't tell Michigan though. Don't get jealous.
Oh
I'll
no.
be honest with you, it was the same
Otherwise,
for
I will
fucking
relish
Nico
the
Nico
victory.
Ni.
Poor,
It
poor
was the same for
Michigan.
no Ada. I'm just like, no, but there's a way in which you say it that it's different, and I'm just like, I will fuck you all.
Okay.
It's bad.
Oh.
It's
Is that
bad.
an offer?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Good tea.
I need to get a fucking flight for a starter.
If I were a girl, I would not want to talk to a girl partner.
Oh my.
Alright,
Go.
y'all ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? Ready?
No,
3,
no,
2,
no, no,
1.
no.
Let's go.
I'm playing with my
Oh,
rapid
it's
cards.
horny.
I'm sorry.
Hurry, hurry,
That's
hurry!
really horny.
It's okay.
I'm not
Go
gonna
ahead.
lie.
Just do it. It's fine. Fine.
Here we are.
What are you
I'm
saying,
just gonna be a
Jaffron?
master
Alright.
here. I'm trying to find right.
What are
It's
you saying,
okay,
brother?
and I love you.
5,
I love you too, buddy.
Alright.
You away?
I'm a hot mom.
3,
No, no.
2.
Why am I doing
One.
the goodbye wave then?
I'm using sign language to tell you that it's okay. I'm not hurt by whatever.
3, 2, 1. Get your brakes ready. Go! Ah! No, not down the hill.
Oh, it's timed again.
Ah,
You know what?
I messed
Soft
up.
and easy. Soft and easy still puts you downhill.
Yeah. Hit the S key when you're at the.
Where you hit the wedge.
Hit S. See, right when you went over that whole Dreamweaver, you're supposed to
You
hit
should've held
S to put it in.
Ew. You should have
The
held
S key.
Hold the S.
I don't know. I don't know how to hold back. All right.
Hold the S button.
I'm gonna test this theory.
Full send.
No.
You heard that here. Dreams does not know how to hold back.
No, get out of the way.
Y'all trying to hit me and everything
Damn
else.
it.
I don't like
Oh,
it.
shoot,
I'm
I forgot.
gonna get in.
We're getting there. I'll learn to hold back.
That hill
How's
is
the
a
first
lot
one in?
deeper than I remember.
Practice makes perfect.
I forgot that you can go through the bottom.
Oh.
The floor. There you go, Shane. Ah, yes. The floor is made out of floor.
The bedroom.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part.
Like, there's no
Ah, yes,
sexual
this
innuendo on this. Like, I
floor is
forgot that
made
you
out of
could.
floor.
I thought it was just the top bit that you could go through.
This floor is made out of floor.
Sip.
One shot over two or two over one.
You didn't know that? You didn't know the floor was made out of floor?
See, do you know what? If I
I see cheats.
What the hell? That didn't work.
Until it was too late.
oh fuck
Ah!
hell,
I should have let it roll in. Damn it.
Right?
I hit the brakes prematurely.
I keep
I hit.
forgetting that you can hold
I
the
did
brakes.
too.
I just fucking I go
The
off.
hole. I hit the
Oh,
brakes.
Yeah, I forgot that you can hold the brakes. Oh yeah, I think I'm winning. See when I start to wind
Actually,
myself
I
back a
still
bit.
can't believe that
This
last
is
comment,
winning.
and we're just moving on. Moving on.
Moving on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
fucking hold one!
You
Yeah.
didn't make sure I stopped.
It doesn't matter if you bounce off a wall, you can't fucking break off the wall.
But you can
Oh,
very break and
Just
shoot
roll
again.
it on.
What?
Just tap it on in.
You can hold break and shoot again. I just figured that out.
Wait, what is shooting while you're breaking?
How did y'all stop like that?
So you
Oh,
can
you're in
shoot
the hole.
on
You look
that
like you
little
stopped
slope
on the
there.
wall.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm coming for you.
Oh.
I know how to stop.
Oh, jeez, right down in the hole.
Oh, for
Oh, I
fuck's
went to the wrong hole.
I'll take the other side, thank you.
What the
Hole in
hell? I
one.
thought I was
Let's
in the
go.
right one.
Stop.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I thought the flag was in the big
Do you know what?
area, and then
You went the wrong direction completely.
no,
I'll take it.
I went the right direction. I just went too far.
Oh.
You can jump
I'm where Jaffron is. I thought that hole was the hole.
Oh, the big
In
hole.
front of you.
that's a pretty big hole.
This is why I use different words.
The big hole indeed.
I don't even
It is as well as a ramp.
Just say one of his splits. Use your words. It's okay. You can trust us.
Traumatized me.
That's
You can
easily
trust
half
us.
an E. That's easily half an E. Look how.
Oh,
Sorry, that was too much.
I don't know. I don't think I would trust us either.
Strong.
Dude, we're
Yeah.
so. Oh no.
Oh
There you
no.
go,
I
Jaffron.
got in there. I got in there.
Yeah,
Stop.
hey,
Stop
stop it.
What did I do? I don't
Wait a
even know.
second.
No,
I
you know
got
what
it.
you
I
did.
got in there in 3 seconds.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
I tell you what.
Give me a minute.
How good for you.
I'm climbing the ranks. I'm climbing the ranks.
Trying to screw you.
Hiya.
Excuse me?
I'm climbing the ranks. Oh, you all get fucking ported down that way?
Yep.
Apparently.
You do. And then you get to go in the hole.
Oh, jeez. I don't even know what's happening here.
I did not hit it hard enough.
So now
I
I know
don't
how
like
to.
this.
He said.
You should do good.
Now I know how to brace myself.
I should get good.
Oh,
We're getting quicker.
Dude, that one night, oh my god, we were ridiculous with the
It was fucking hilarious.
One night,
Absolutely hilarious.
Oh,
long
no.
time
It was
ago.
a whole lot of, oh no.
a long time ago. Whoa!
Why
Well,
the
thanks,
fuck?
guys.
Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah, we bounced you in. Good, good, good.
Thank you for all of the help. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I owe it to everyone.
Excuse me. If someone tells me how to say it, then I'll say it. But I don't know how to say it.
You don't need
Nobody-
to know.
There's the
It's,
way-
oh,
Yeah,
wow,
I need
there's
to
a
know.
freaking thing there.
Oh,
What is
no.
going on? Oh, and then it's up
Get out
there.
of my way.
Fucking hell. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm in. A full second, roughly. Before
Oh,
It was actually about a half a second, but we'll not nitpick.
We'll not go to pedantics.
You're the pedantic.
What did he say?
Hit antics.
Shane, it's just attacking you tonight.
Oh, I didn't even look. I keep getting. Oh yeah, all my quotes.
This.
Oh, what?
Witches go for the boomies!
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I went before the boomies.
Go the boomies! Oh no, I stopped just right!
Someone just hit me.
Oh.
Everywhere.
Dude, I hit right to the edge of the downslope and I stopped. And I'm like, oops.
But that's the thing, someone just hit me, but I still end up with a lower score because it was a shit time. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's because you're.
That as well.
Down, Jeff.
Does that to me. Semantic, Jeff. Semantic.
No.
Oh,
No!
I missed. Reset.
Everybody hit me.
Reset.
Don't reset.
Why am I stuck in the water? I'm in free cam. That's why.
Because you can't get out of the water.
Wait, where am I going?
The fuck are we?
Reset! What the hell is going on with this course?
A wild Galilean slow king
You
appeared.
fucking rapid.
Galarian.
Absolute
Yeah.
rapid.
It says gal.
Yeah.
What?
I tell
Gal
you,
slow king appeared.
Just in there, tank.
Yeah, good no. Oh, I didn't even reset. Alright, here we go. Full send.
Did I hit the wrong button?
Full yeet.
I did.
Seeing a bit yeet, Chevron?
You gotta go
Quote.
hard and then you gotta stop.
I'm
fast.
sassy.
Seeing a bit yeet.
Shane's quote again. The third quote tonight is still Shane's quote.
I'm so sassy.
There you
But
go.
you already know.
Oh, you
I
were right
fell.
there.
I hit.
I'm
reset
sassy.
back,
You were right there.
so- I know.
Same shot.
This
Same time.
conversation out of context, my goodness.
Lemon drop. Self-love is the
Y'all-
best
y'all are
love.
fucked.
Hey, you're over.
Y'all got such a dirty mind, it's crazy.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure there's no quotes of mine in there.
Oh,
30 seconds left.
what?
I'm so bad at this game.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, you only
What's
get like
going
2 minutes.
on?
About what?
Why am I fifth?
Huh?
That you're a bitch.
Because you're special.
Wait, it's the hole.
Hello, us.
I can't help you with that.
Right.
Can't help you with that.
Peace.
You're welcome.
Oh,
No.
It took me a minute to
Desi!
realize which
Currently on
particular
a
hole we
5-stream
were on, and
stream.
then I knew.
Welcome, Desi! Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the shenanigans.
No,
Happy
stop.
Friday! I hope you're doing awesome.
We are getting a bit dirty
Everything
with
is
our holes.
awesome.
And we all spectate Shane as he makes his way through the course.
Bro.
Fucking
And then he
hell.
goes backwards.
I hit R by mistake.
Hit the-
And now he's in slow-mo as we're playing speed golf. What is he doing? What are these tactics? Just kidding.
You like the commentary?
I'm making him nervous and I don't.
Ricochet.
That is
Okay, so
esports
sometimes when
tactics.
you're like really confused, you can hit C to turn on camera mode, and then space to
Mhm.
elevate, and then WSAD to move around.
I think we just all have bad moments.
It does
It's
take
normal.
time, but I did it, and I'm still in what?
You're in first place.
Oh,
Just saying.
Will you just try and rub it in our faces?
Maybe.
He's in. I'm in what?
5 seconds, baby. Let's go.
Hole in one.
Either.
7 seconds. 7 seconds.
What? 7 to shoot.
I can't do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm here, and I can't do nothing. Apparently, I can't. I don't
7
know what I'm
seconds.
doing.
Get a hole in one.
I forgot how to
Fucking,
play
I'm
this one.
proud of myself.
I forgot how to play
It
that
took
hole.
me 5 seconds to get a hole in one.
I love
Damn.
You can jump over it.
I know, but I forgot, and I was like, how do I do this?
You for gore.
You didn't beat me. Oh no.
I'm proud of you.
Oh no.
Okay. here
It's
we
a
go.
full
You ready?
senpai, guys. A full senpai.
Except I didn't jump at the right time.
Or
so
yeet.
I
it
pressed
didn't matter.
space bar.
Didn't matter.
Is that what
7
that was?
seconds.
Pretty much.
Didn't-
I think maybe not. Maybe not.
Wow.
I don't remember.
Wow, this is
I don't
crazy.
think it was.
Oh my god, I hit the wrong button to jump. I hit spacebar thinking that would work.
Why do
Yeah, I
I
did.
keep the cooker
I done
smelling?
spacebar.
After you shoot, use
Because
the
we want to
mouse.
touch you. We want to touch balls, Chakron.
Hey, yo.
Feel like you get no
Hmm.
satisfaction.
Oh
yeah? Like, is there a word for that? Is there like
I'm gonna put a button
bag
on the
and
green
tea
with
bag?
that
I don't know.
one. That's my fault.
Burial.
Well, it's definitely not sword fighting, but I don't know what you call it.
You're gonna talk to someone from Scotland about teabags?
Sure. What the hell did I just do?
I have no idea what the
No,
fucking
stop
hell I am.
hitting me!
What the fuck? Oh, I meant to go there.
I
Oh,
meant
you
to
what
jump
the-
and I
You
hit.
sabotaged me. I think we sabotaged each other. I think we both hit each other.
Sally
was not
sells
fucking-
seashells by the seashore. Alright.
On the seashore.
Shane touched my ball.
Sally sells seashells on the
Just say-
seashore, but the seashells that Sally sells on the seashore are not the seashells that Sally sells.
Jane touched my ball by the golf course. Alright.
Yeah. I mean, that really should become a fucking
What is going on?
promiscuous thing to say.
Okay.
Well,
I don't even remember
I'm
where
doing a
we're
fucking- I'm
going.
doing a loop.
I went all over the damn place.
Me too. I forgot how to play. Who whacked
Stupid
me
thing
like
for
that?
jumping.
Did you like it?
I keep on
I'm
forgetting.
so sorry.
I don't even know where I'm going. Where's the big hole?
That's
I don't know
what
where
he
the hole
said.
is.
It's behind you
Well,
on a lower plot.
Ah!
It's usually on your bottom.
That needs
It's
to be a
not over
quote.
there. It's not over there.
That needs to be a quote.
There you go. That's the right way.
right the wood.
No,
Oh, so
Behind
what?
you. Behind you. Yeah.
If you rode the wood, then you would have got in.
Okay then.
Well, it is wood, and that, like I would have been the most direct path. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Some gates were filled as
you know, many times
No,
we make
I'm
that
so
joke.
terrible at this one, but maybe with the break. Maybe with the break.
Many times we
Oh, I
make
went
that
way
joke.
too far.
Where are we where are we holding out here?
made it down.
You're holing out. Just,
Oh.
I hit somebody on my way up.
Thank
Oh,
you.
the river takes you.
Thank you.
I can confirm the S does help a little bit.
Yes,
on that one.
see. We're a little.
Oh my goodness.
What about 3? What
Somehow
about
I
3?
skipped the gutter entirely.
Oh.
You can like S in the slow roll it, let me.
Green.
I'm
Aw.
in. Inish.
What did you
Inish?
get
I don't
stuck
know.
on? The little mushroom light thing?
I got stuck on all sorts of things.
The rain's constantly getting stuck here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wrong
Well,
hole.
she was trying not to go down the gutter. That's the thing.
Oh,
There she is.
Right in the
Oh,
hole.
lady.
it was the wrong
I'm
hole.
sorry, Warner. I know I lost it. That's fine. I'm not really trying.
I give up. I don't know. What the fuck.
Did I hear an
You gotta
ara?
go over the roof, but not too over the roof.
Yeah, you want to go over the roof.
Land in the gutter on the
Yes.
other side.
You want to go over the roof at a diagonal.
And through the woods.
Look at
And
To
then
grandmother's house we go.
Through the woods.
I just
And
said
then,
that.
no, not full yeet, buddy, not full yeet. You want to go
Oh
maybe like
no.
just over 2.5.
Half a knee.
Just over like two and a
Half
bit,
a senpai.
2.5 senpais.
You need to give it in.
Top.
That was
30 seconds, bud.
No, you're good. 2.5 senpais.
Got it.
No, you went full yeet again.
Oh, half. Yeet.
Yeah, 2.5. 2.5.
Yeah.
There you go. And then S.
Almost made it on that.
Wait, once you're in the
I love
air,
how the music gets louder.
go
It just
in the air.
wrecks everything.
When you're at the top of the roof, the apex.
You need to be in the air though.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a very difficult spot.
It's all good.
I hate
That
that
is
course,
very
to be
Not as
honest.
bad as the first hole on Ancient.
It's
69 splints.
Blank hole.
69.
Two people, including KimonoKat, 69.
Stop playing.
Harder, harder.
Wait, where's
Stop
the
playing.
Wait.
What?
Oh,
What the fuck?
It's
oh,
this
over
way.
there. Oh, reset. Oh, not reset.
Ooh. Thanks, Shane.
You can't make it across the field. I tried.
Yeah, you can.
Unless you
tried.
jump the wall.
You gotta do it at an angle.
Back. That all pushes you back.
It was at a funny angle.
Oh, that's meant to
You can't go straight across the field. You gotta go like at an angle.
Oh, you're all going the wrong way, by the way. You're all going the wrong
What do you
way.
mean? I made it in.
There you go,
Well,
Jaffron.
I mean-
Perfect.
Holy
S.
shit! He rode the wall and made it in while riding the wall.
That would have been like a hole in one.
Wait, I'm going to toilet.
That was
I'll be back in a minute.
impressive.
That was good. Holy hell, dude.
He put me in 5th.
Damn, son.
Oh, this is the best one for the brakes, guys.
Right.
The
you
brakes
just
are
stop
gonna
in
be
the
your
middle
savior
of
here.
The thing, and then you go. Pew! Oh, oops! I hit the wall.
Oh.
And then you go. Pew! Oh, I hit the wall again. Yep. Yeah, that's good. Let's just keep hitting the wall.
Ooh. Remember how many of us could not even finish this one because it's just that hard?
Oh,
But
come
now you
on,
got
move me
brakes.
out.
So you can do all the amazing things?
No, you don't have to be sorry. I'm just asking.
Thank you, though.
Dreams. Did everything come out alright? Hey, we're waiting on you.
Did everything come
We're
out?
gonna make you uncomfortable.
Are you stupid?
Yeah. You know, just squeeze a little.
You're hidden.
Just rock side to side.
Push on your belly.
Back to forth. Yeah. Just breathe. You know he's listening.
Okay, so I
Hold
came
on
across
a
a
minute.
Reddit post where they're like,
Yo, hold on a minute.
they were talking about splinting, and I
No,
had no idea
You're,
that
you're
was a
talking
thing.
about fucking taking a shit. I was literally taking a piss.
Oh yeah.
And then Kimono's just like, just rock side to side. Where the fuck am I going?
In the hole.
Sort of right.
Which is where?
Go
Towards the
forward and then
trains
right.
On the right. Towards the trains.
Go forward a little bit.
Can you see?
Hurry. There you go. Now hit S. S.
That was an interesting way to get there. I appreciate that.
Then go forward a little bit. There you go. Hit S. Oh no! The slope's got you. You're gonna die on the
It's not
slope.
fucking- It's not letting me stop.
Yeah, it's a slope.
Because it's on a slope.
So anyway, yeah, don't know. You know,
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything.
Like
I didn't do
I'll
anything.
be honest with you. I was sitting there trying. I was taking a piss, and then it was just like, oh yeah, just squeeze it out. And I'm like, I don't have incontinence. Like, why the fuck am I trying to squeeze anything out here? And then there's just all you guys going like,
Yeah.
which I'm just like, this doesn't sound anything like splashing water. You son of a-
It's the piss piss.
I will be right back, though.
Okay.
You made it sound so much worse than it actually was. I'm just like, what the fuck are these cunts making noises for? Like, how old do they think I am? Would I need to have incontinence and splashing water in the background,
Yeah,
being like,
yeah.
oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I was pushing. I was like, fucking, I need to get the piss out before.
You
so,
pushed.
so as I was starting to play this game again, so as I could be like, telling this story.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, my drink's
Okay.
empty.
I think I'm gonna call it a
I
night.
gotta take the doggo for a walk.
Alright, later, race.
Alright.
See ya.
Those that are
See you, buddy.
leaving, run away.
Later,
Have a
guys.
good evening, or go
Bye.
use the bathroom, or go get your drinks.
Reason being,
And I'll see you back in like
Ford Aquarium tomorrow.
2 minutes.
It's not raining anymore, but it's still
I
lightning.
miss the manatees, but I guess I get to see manatees when I move to Florida, so I'll be okay.
Assuming
y'all-
you're in the Everglades forest, yes.
What
But there are also lots of
No.
spiders.
We're gonna
about-
be in near somewhere else. That's
Can
pretty
y'all still
popular
hear
with
me?
manatees. So.
There's
Yeah,
manatees everywhere in
yeah.
Florida.
Can I
No,
actually,
we're not gonna be anywhere near the Everglades.
Can I ask a
It's
question,
not
lady?
raining anymore, but it's still lightning and thundering.
Can I ask a question, lady?
Really pretty though.
Oh, it's irrespective. I'm going to ask the question anyway. If
Fair
you're staying in Florida, are you far from like the Orlando amusements and all that kind of
I'll
stuff?
be an hour and a half from Orlando.
Okay, so it's cheap as fuck, roughly. Kind of. Cheap as fuck for me to get there. I'm staying. And we're going to go to all these things.
As long as you're paying.
To all these
Nice.
amusements? Oh, for sure. If I'm getting accommodation, fuck yeah.
Because I can't afford that shit.
No.
Even with the Florida discounts, I still can't afford it.
Don't give a fuck. How many rooms you got in your house? 2.
No, we're only gonna have one.
Oh, you got a couch?
No?
Oh, well, in that case, well, it's gonna
She's
be expensive.
moving a long way. It won't fit in her car.
My
That's
guy, I'm not
great.
even gonna have a desk when I get there.
Motherfucker, I'll bring a sleeping bag. We're
I'm
good.
gonna have to
A
use
wild
boxes.
an unknown Pokemon, guys.
She's over there like, not for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pokecatch
It's like, I've
unknown.
heard you snore. This is not.
Use those Ultra Balls if you got him.
Jesus Christ.
It's an
Oh, wait, by the way,
unknown.
do you want to know something funny?
No.
Well, you already know the funny shit.
guessing.
Is that the other week I pulled a splint. I fell asleep.
What do you mean pulling a splints? Explain to me what pulling a splints is.
Yes,
I
please do
fell-
tell.
fell
What is pulling a splits?
I fell asleep on cam.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah, that
What?
happened. That was last Friday, and I didn't get home until like 1:30, so he had to wait until like when I got home at 1:30 my time,
Yeah, which
so I could
all,
pick him off because I was driving home.
which was funny as fuck
Oh
because
my gosh.
I woke
You
up.
kicked me off last Friday?
No,
Mm-mm.
me.
Oh,
No.
her. Yeah. Him. Wow.
I woke up to 13 missed messages. Sorry,
Oh, you
13
couldn't go
missed
to bed.
calls. 13
No,
missed
if-
calls. One message
Right, old man.
from Wiggles, being like, when I woke up, obviously the next day, and I found my bed, the message was just like, dude, you fell asleep on cam. Get
Are you
yourself
ready?
up and get yourself off the camera.
probably not.
I was going to do this Pokecatch thing, but I just got Pokecatch. Is it Pokecatch plus something?
Pokecatch.
Oh, you missed it though. Mona and I caught it though.
We
No, I
got
get it. I just mean for future reference. Is it just
caught the unknown
Pokecatch?
Pokemon.
Or is
Yeah.
it catch it and then?
And if you want to choose like the type of ball, you have to type that in too. But if
I don't
Yeah,
know
like
what type of ball I
Pokecatch
have.
Ultra Ball.
I mean, I got 2 blue balls, but
that's a great ball.
Good for you. Good for you.
God damn.
I think that's a little unfortunate. For
Oh
you, my guy.
no.
Wah,
You
wah,
should
wah.
probably
Oh,
see a
boy.
doctor about that, because you should not have an erection for more than 4 hours.
I meant
really
I meant
dehydrate.
in the Pokemon catch side of
When
things.
you
Like,
don't
I got-
have an erection when you have blue balls. It's
Nah,
womp,
we're good.
womp, wiggle, wiggle,
Like-
wiggle, wiggle.
Pretty sure it's the thing. Blue balls is a legit
We're
thing.
good. We're good.
It's not a legit thing. It's an excuse.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to leave work today, buddy. Sorry, pal.
you call into work with blue
Yeah.
balls.
You called out for that? Oh my
Hey, yo,
god.
Chief, I got blue balls. I ain't coming in, boss.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's.
That's
what
I'm not gonna say the response you're gonna get.
On my last day at work, I'm calling in.
I just
blue
want to
balls.
point out. I just want to
Do
point out I have
it.
no blue balls. But the whole the escalation of the conversation makes it funny for me.
I can't wait. I'm actually gonna pull that excuse. I'll be like, oh,
Sorry, buddy.
I
I got
can't
it's
blue.
my
come
last
in.
day. I got blue balls. I gotta go.
To be like, yeah, no, like,
You can't fire me. I've already left.
yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna be
I
good.
won't be back for the
I
next
mean,
6
good.
weeks. I got cancer.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh no.
That guy from 1941.
And then
That's
you get
cool.
Kimono coming and going, "Ah-da-da-da-da-da."
It's not worth shit. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
Alright, are we here?
1941, that's when it was probably made with metal that actually
Oh.
valued it at 10 cents.
Um,
Oh, the laughs, the banter.
Jeffron's walking his dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, we should kick him if that's.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how. There you
I
go.
think you right click.
Yeah, I got it. That way it doesn't interfere with it.
Jaffron, he's a AFK.
And he'll be gone for like 30-40 minutes, so.
We're kicking you.
Depending on who he meets. Yeah.
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 What
So,
you mean?
Might
alright.
run into the guy that's like, hey, you should come over and have a beer
Oh,
with me, buddy.
Prince isn't here either.
I am. I'm coming back.
Oh, yay! He's
Are
back.
you?
He went to go take a shit.
No,
Oh, we
I didn't.
forgot to give him a
Yeah,
hard
take a
time.
smoke. Anyway, I'm here.
Who poops with their headset on? That's so
Come on.
weird.
Dream's been looking like I might have.
I promise you, I will sit on my toilet and listen to
Dream's
you guys
white.
banter.
Alright, on that note, we're gonna start.
I had a mouthful of
I
beer.
don't
That's
go that far,
unfair.
so. Not my fault.
Semantics. Fucking semantics.
Did I just out a bunch of people? Wow.
I should point out, I definitely haven't taken a shit with my headphones on, by the way.
Do you think so?
In case all those are
Green
sitting there
half seconds,
fucking,
baby. Let's go.
But you
Okay.
did. But you did.
in case those watching are being like, fucking hell, man, that's cunt's gross.
12, 6, 7. There's only it's only like 5 people. They don't worry too much.
Oh, that was a perfect. Oh, I forgot you have to. Can you press S in this one?
Mm-hmm.
I will
Oh,
say
yeah.
I've received lots of bathroom
They're still doing the
selfies.
speed thing. When you get
Oh, I
the
didn't know.
dun, that means it's a speed race.
You know what's going on in there.
You know this, man.
What, the bathroom? Or
Bathroom
the- or my
selfies. You
head?
know what they're
Or my
doing.
head?
Drop.
When did realize I've been muted? For God knows how long.
Yeah, you've been muted for a while. I thought it was on purpose.
Yeah, I thought you were literally trying to just laugh quietly.
With the hee 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 hee.
Dang it.
What happened there?
Lady, how could you?
Dude, you were on the carpet and then not on the carpet.
Huh? What did he say?
Yeah, that.
Hey, what?
Things and stuff. Splits is in the lead.
Jesus, I wish I would stop doing that. I just can't help myself.
I want to know how.
Yeah, I wish you would too.
I wish you would too. Yeah, me and you both, buddy.
Hotter,
I'm still
hotter.
rolling.
Brutal, man.
Thank you.
Fucking.
Shane's just being brutal over here.
Whoa.
Welcome.
I think I'm rubbing off my shade.
Go, Hanase Maska.
Oh, it's this mode of golf is making me angry.
It does, because it's fast
Really
and
does.
furious. Too
Gotta be fast.
Too furious.
Oh no!
It's golf, y'all.
Oh no! Will somebody hit me?
Bye, Kimono.
Ooh, yeah.
Look
I
at
was only
that.
No.
for a second
Closely
behind you.
wear.
I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
So far back.
Jeez.
So far back.
See? I just had to touch your ball apparently.
Wondering, you got a buzz.
Excuse me?
We're just always touching balls around here, man.
I
Can't help it. We love
I love
it.
touching
just-
balls.
Pegs,
And
what
it's
the
just
fuck
all
have you
this-
walked into, buddy?
Text.
Yeah, Blue just loves touching each other's balls around here.
Wow. Yes,
Look.
we
And if
do.
Mrs. Text listening, I'm so sorry for our mannerisms.
I'm fucking hell.
Ooh, who pushed me?
The fucking jump.
Do it again.
Does it work if you hit the other direction? It does.
Oh,
What? I hit the pole.
Sounds like a you problem, guy.
don't hit the ball.
It is a me problem.
It's,
Yay.
it's definitely not a four you should be hitting, buddy.
Never cross the streams. God damn it! I'm trying to respond to a text message, but this is too hectic.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, you can't be texting right now. You gotta be driving.
gotta be hitting poles, man.
Yeah.
Be hitting them poles.
Right.
Hitting the poles.
Ah!
No.
Okay,
Wait, where's
maybe
the
a
fucking
rebound.
thing?
Tex, you'd love it, mate.
Sharing
It's
any?
playing pool.
That's
we-
sharing it? I see that
Tex.
absolute.
We got the absolute vodka. Oh, you
That's a lot. Holy
absolute
cow.
guy.
I didn't even have to see the logo, like I knew the bottle shape.
Fucking hell.
I don't even drink liquor. I don't even drink liquor. I worked in a liquor store. I'm sorry.
She's like,
Oh, I mean.
no.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Apparently, I don't know how to play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
screwdriver.
Listen to
Ooh,
Fuck
Fanta.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's making a
don't you
screwdriver.
wanna? Fanta, don't you wanna?
What's that?
Cheers.
Is that just Fanta and fucking vodka?
Yeah, it's called a screwdriver. It's orange soda and vodka.
Or
Actually,
orange
a screwdriver is literally just orange juice and vodka.
Yeah, it's supposed to be orange juice, but.
I thought it was that fucking.
Either way, it's fine. It's the same shit.
Oh, I went way too far. Reset.
I prefer it with orange soda.
Wait, where's the?
I don't know what to do.
Oh, here we go.
It's too much.
Princess, where's
It's
the
too
slide?
much to apologize. I don't know. Can I get on
Ah.
the course? Breaststrokes.
Breath?
Good job.
Breast?
Boobies.
Oh no, there's boobies everywhere.
I want a chicken salad sandwich.
Where did that come from?
What?
I know where it came from. Chicken pits.
This is
I know,
cool.
I know exactly where it came from. Chicken pits.
He's not wrong.
Chicken tits.
Chicken tits. Breast sandwich. Chicken tits. Sorry,
And you're a chicken tit.
here.
I hit the roof.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Go down the stairs.
Oh.
Stop
Chicken
going
eat.
down the
I don't
stairs.
know what kind of insult that is, but make it how you will, I guess.
Chicken
Oh,
chicken tits.
jeez.
Yeah, they're all my chicken.
Oh my god, why are the stairs fucking me up so bad?
I don't know.
Hello?
Ow.
I did it first. No, no.
Damn it.
That's
Are you
a
serious?
shame.
Are you serious? I'm not gonna make it. I'm
Oh.
not gonna make it. Alright, there we go.
I went full yeet on that. Tex, what you trying to say, buddy?
Let's eat first.
Oh,
Slow down.
Full yeet.
And slow down if you hit. There you go.
I missed the other one. Let's try to make it in there anyway. Yep, there we go.
Yeah. And then you can pull you and slow down if you hit.
Nani?
It sounds like whenever you are doing this, it all goes deep. I feel like I should make what I say deep. So like,
No.
Yes.
deep
You know-
Swing low, sweet. Yeah, no, no, you should
Dream.
not do that.
Yeah.
Dream, at the cost of making another mistake, I'll just tell you that phrase is normally used by anime characters that are like older women.
Ah.
Ay,
Yeah.
ay, ay, ay,
Garambi?
ay, caramba! Go kimono, go kimono.
He was Glenn.
It's all hit that thing.
Thank you for
Somebody else
the
hit me.
tap there.
Got it.
The assist. Thank
I
you.
got 13
It was a
and 13
double
times
assist.
two.
I got helped and then you got helped.
Add this though.
How can I, fucking English, how can I not jump it?
Brown cow.
9.
'Cause you're a bitch.
There you go.
Jump. Crisscross will make you
Beautiful.
wanna jump.
You're a bitch.
Jump. Alright, now just slide in.
Giggity.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
I think you
You're-
got Kyle.
Aw. Yeah, where's the wiggles?
I need
Wiggle, wiggle,
fucking
wiggle,
food, not
You might be
this.
camping again.
Why am I?
Oh, yeah, fucking Holland
That's it, not
Walk
check
Walk.
my
fucking
mate.
hate this one, dog.
I'm off and get a fucking.
Oh, why?
no.
You
I forgot. You have to
jump
go
with the
toward the
wiggles.
bookmark.
Ay, ay, ay. I bounced off the bollocks and didn't make it.
That's pretty ballsy of you.
I was on the wrong hole.
I mean that's a personal problem.
Hey,
wasn't
did you hear the
intentional.
dolphin? Did you hear?
I don't know.
You know, that's. You know.
Hey, there's a mirror.
I feel like I'm watching a non-safe for work stream over there with
Right?
Tex and the mirrors.
I mean, you missed Jay getting stripping in front of us.
We get to watch everything.
Jay
You gotta
was
realize with
stripping
the mirror
earlier.
behind you when you take your pants off,
Yeah,
you see
with your
them
mirror
go,
behind you, we can see everything. Well, at least he's just serving. At least it looks like he's just serving himself a drink. We're good.
It's like the Grinch.
No! Reset!
What shall I wear?
Uh
Reset. Damn it.
Oh, you
oh.
motherfucker!
What?
Okay, that's a harsh word.
It's not when
What?
it's spoken
The
to me.
audacity.
It's not when you're a
Scottish?
Scottish or Irish,
person.
yeah.
If you're Scottish, it's just
Or
a
Australian.
wee word. It's just a wee
Probably
word.
probably the most
It's just a
endearing.
wee
It's
word.
fine. I'm just letting the Scottish blood come out, alright?
It's just a wee word.
But it's there.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Probably the most endearing thing ladies
Yeah,
ever
they're all
said.
laughing at that.
It actually kind of was.
Where the fucking hell am I going? Am I going this way? I should
I don't know. Toward
You
the
go
hole.
toward the
What are
hole.
you doing?
You're gonna go in between the creature's legs, okay? Go in between the legs.
That is a terrifying baby face. What the fuck?
And feel it. Okay?
Or
You
you
gotta
could
go
go
straight through there.
Yes.
yeet.
No.
Not a full yeet.
Maybe 3 eats.
3
Like
eats.
a half, it's
3
a half an
eats.
E and a quarter knee.
Yeah.
Not half an E and a quarter. Okay.
3, 4, 7, 8.
There you go.
There you go.
See? The math works out.
The math ain't mathin', bro.
It did. It did. Look at that.
Where are Rose?
It works out.
Where are
It
Rose and
works
Sean
out.
right now?
Good job. Good job. Good job.
Because that did work out.
The
Proud
math
of you.
works out.
Hmm.
The
I'm
math,
still
math,
in
da-da.
I have no idea where the hole is.
I hate this one.
I'm a full send this
Woo!
shit. Or not. Never
Oh,
mind.
it's over there. Yeah, sure.
No.
beep. No, I was supposed to be.
That's okay.
Midair.
That's
Yep,
okay.
There we go.
Whoop.
First.
There we go.
Come on.
I got him before Kimono.
Oh, I went to the next hole. That's not good.
What the?
Salandit was caught by KimonoKat.
I keep getting.
KimonoKat. Not one.
Oh, I didn't realize the hole was that close.
How do I keep hitting these damn shelves?
I know. I keep hitting him too. You're on one.
Man, it's
We'll
taking
stand
so
through
long
the
to get
hole.
to this hole.
Stop being a bookworm.
Where's Crisis?
He can't help it, okay?
Oop.
That's what we do.
God.
We have a book.
Put myself. Splashed a bite.
Books.
Kissed a game.
You need to send it like half an
Licked.
E. There you go.
There. Just gonna do angry
I'm trying
cat
to avoid
things.
I'm trying to avoid going full like Aurora and just rage quitting at golf. You remember that?
Oh yeah. We did that a lot.
I've done it before.
This game.
Except
I
I
hate
don't
this
quit.
game.
I just start fucking flinging the ball everywhere. I'm like, fuck it. I don't care.
Ball.
I go full out. Balls out. Beep. Beep. Damn it. Alright.
Oh
thank
no.
you. Where's the hound?
No, they got for me. So did she.
Where's the hole? Oh, dang it.
No.
That one there, she's quick. Better watch out.
Okay, race car. Don't come that quick though.
Yo.
Wow. Phrasing? Are we still doing that? Is that a thing? Phrasing?
Yeah, no.
Mona started it.
Oh, I did.
She started not to come quick.
I think it was whoever said Ara Ara started it.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that.
In the hole?
Ah,
Why didn't I just say that?
Lady,
No.
lady.
You got breeze. Holy shit! How did you end up there? How did you end up there?
riding.
Where am I going? This way.
In the hole.
At least that wasn't the last one.
Cheers.
I'm gonna
Told
fucking
you
nail
guys
it.
it took me a little while.
Absolutely gonna nail it.
Yeah, you said that.
He
was the
did
thing
say
you
that.
said.
We need to quote that. I'm absolutely gonna nail it. That's what he said.
Absolutely gonna fucking nail it.
It takes me a lot of.
Golf with friends.
Oh, right. Wow.
Watch
I
out for the
still
wall.
I still can't even believe. What?
Watch out for the block.
What?
Here.
Oh, of course I went around it.
No.
I'm gonna go into it and then back out.
Oh, this one I fucking
This one.
hate.
Go!
I absolutely hate. Oh,
Carry on with a full send yeet.
oh,
Yeah, I'm in.
You,
You gotta
see,
be shitting me.
see if you took the time trial at
Oh,
this,
wait,
I'm
you're my
fucking
favorite turd.
winning. If you took
Oh,
the
no.
time trial at this, I'm totally winning.
I'm sorry, Aiden. This is the time trial.
That's what I said. If you took the time
If you
trial
took
out
it.
of this,
You
then
wouldn't,
I
you
will
wouldn't, I
be.
promise you. You would
Don't
not.
make promises. Here, don't make promises.
I got kicked away from 69.
Shane would win. Shane would
This one
win.
fucking sucks.
Shane would win.
This one is Phil Yeet.
Hold one, baby.
Over there. Yeah.
Hole in one?
Where am
What
I
the
going?
hell?
Somebody
No.
fucking sent me.
I didn't mean to
Somebody
hit you.
sent me.
Fucking someone just.
I was
Oh,
doing pretty
wow.
good until you sent me.
I want to eat.
Where am I going?
What the hell is going on now? Where am I?
Some of those targets are bogus, I swear.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
they
real.
are. They're absolutely scabby.
Shoot! Why am I moving?
Where
Why
are we
am I not
going?
stopped?
Where are we
Where am I
going?
meant to
Where
go?
are we off
Like
to?
this. It's
Let's-
so deceiving.
Splits, you almost made me spit like everywhere, so I had to leave.
I'm sorry.
Because that would have been all on my keyboard. And I was like, I'm not having that.
Giggity.
That's how you swallowed though.
No!
Flint's my boy. That's my boy. You're my boy, Blue.
Fucking with me.
I'm not
You're my
saying
boy, Blue.
anything.
I
Jeez.
have no idea where the. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Oh, we're bouncing around and we're trying to make it into the hole.
Rain just wants to
Bouncy
know.
balls.
I was on the ball. That should have been okay.
No, James, what happened? Did you hit the rail?
Yeah.
Not again.
You're not supposed to hit that.
No, I get that.
James, hurry! Get to the hole quick! You're running out of time!
Fucking
You're
hell.
so close!
I'm,
Don't hit the pole! Go straight in!
I'm gonna be back in a minute. I'm going downstairs and I'm getting some food from the hotel.
Gonna get
Okay,
some back.
enjoy! See you, Tex.
No, I'm coming back.
Okay.
Well, we'll see when you come back.
We'll be here.
Yeah, but I'm muting
I'm
you,
so
so
glad I
Becky
ran
didn't
out of
hear you.
time.
Okay, that's alright.
Rude.
Jeebus.
What if we wanted to talk
She
to
might want to
Becky?
sleep. Becky, come love us.
One away
Oi,
Splits
Becky.
69.
We love you, Becky. We're your biggest fan.
Can you hear? Can you hear
Uh-uh.
her?
Of course
Who
we
the
can,
hell
yeah.
did I hit?
Good. We
It's
got you,
like,
brother.
please
Probably
leave me
me.
alone, the group.
Oh,
I'm spinning.
oh no. Poor.
Oh.
Let her rest. Go get her food. Let her rest.
You stuck.
Yeah, she didn't say please leave me alone. She just said the room is spinning.
Oh no. Is she drunk?
They've been at it like for
Yeah,
12
I did.
hours.
Look, I I was unaware that you guys were traveling. I also didn't realize
Yeah.
that they've been drinking.
Yeah, they've been at it for like 12 hours or more now.
Are you kidding me?
How can I bang off the
They
wall?
were
and still
day
end up at
drinking.
point O?
You just gotta go in the fucking wall.
I did.
You definitely need to get food in her system. So get
Yes, go get food. Bring her back some.
Go get food. Do it now.
Hey,
I would highly suggest bringing something with lots of carbs, like bread or something.
Some bread,
how can I?
And water.
some
This
hydration
one's
fluids.
fucking me up. I'm so bad at this one.
Is that a speed run? I feel.
Yeah, it is.
Just don't hit the things. Don't hit the
No,
axis.
I meant to hit S, not R. God dang
The
it.
evil baby axis.
Yeah, I did that a couple times this course.
That worked.
Pew.
Take it.
Take it. Take it.
Woo! Look at Splints and Dreams. Who will make it into the home first? Oh, it was Splints. Dreams is
Like-
clowning around, just bouncing.
I like.
Go get food.
I like to
Remember,
remember.
disconnect you. Go get food.
Alright. You can leave it there, do whatever you want to do. Mute yourself, go get food. Mute.
I got
I
a
get
crew
food.
cap.
I'll get food. I'll get food.
I got a crew
Alright.
cap. We need to
Well,
throw the cap in.
I am I'm gonna play a different game, but I'll
Okay.
talk to you guys later.
Bye, Breds.
Bye, friends.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Alright.
Adios.
Don't see through it. See through the window. I'm throwing that.
Wow.
Go get food.
Alright, guys. I think that's it for
Actually, can't hear you.
stream.
Yeah, you go.
I'm
Thank you guys
asking
for
Becky
hanging
whether
out.
she wants me to fully mute you or leave you,
Oh.
and then she's like, "No, yeah, just mute Mike. That's fine. I will.
She wants to listen to our
You
shenanigans.
want to listen to
It's
the
background
bullshit.
music.
What
Yeah.
we want is we want Becky here while you go
You'll
for
be
a
asleep.
Absolute
You'll be
reverse
asleep
of
when I
that.
get back."
We want Becky
Probably.
here
She's
while you
gonna
go for a
enjoy the
split.
background sound. We're like the television right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be asleep, but then when I actually bring food, she'll wake
Chill.
up.
Well, at least
We'll
get
do
her.
it. It'll be
Alright,
good.
go get your kebab.
Yeah.
It's not a
Good
kebab.
It's not a kebab.
It's not a kebab.
It's not a kebab.
Alright.
Mate, we want
Sweet.
Becky here.
Alright, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching stream tonight. Thank you for being here for the shenanigans. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all have an amazing, wonderful Friday. Thank you for hanging out, lurking, all the good things. So I will see you guys Sunday. We're gonna play some games. It's gonna be later Sunday afternoon. It won't be like 3 o'clock, like early. I don't know. I think it'll be a while before I do the early streams again. So more like 7 or 8. So, but I will see you guys then. Also, East Coast, if you're wondering, time zones. But yeah, take care. Eat snacks. Get some sunshine. Get some sleep, more importantly. It's time for sleep. Good night, guys. Talk to y'all later. Thank you again.